Chapter 165. Both Duan Tianhong and Duan Tianxi felt that Qin Yun of the seven divine sects was the real threat. They were wary of Qin Yun, so they weren't in a hurry to make a move. The two of them didn't think that Qin Yun and Yu Yuan had a close relationship. While laughing, the two brothers attacked without hesitation. The lava lake hung high in the air, and the blazing fiery characters turned into a rain of fire. Beams of dazzling crimson light shot towards the surrounding experts of the Scarlet Sun Empire. Another early Yin spirit cultivator, who was trapped in the sword mark and hadn't recovered his soul, was hit by a beam of fiery light. The moment the crimson light hit him, lightning crackled all over his body. Unfortunately, all of his soul and consciousness were trapped in the sword mark, so he couldn't recover in time. Whoosh! A 20-meter-tall strange Yin divinity that was wreathed in lightning and wreathed in dazzling lightning suddenly fell apart. The crimson light destroyed the strange Yin spirit's lightning and thunder, and then burned its soul. When the crimson light wrapped around its body, it immediately burned fiercely. Fizz! Sparks of sparkling lightning flashed and disappeared, quickly becoming invisible. Yu Yuan instantly sensed that the sword light in his arm bone was burning even more fiercely. His eyes lit up and he calmed down. The unexpected battle broke out because he had pointed out that Duan Guanlan practiced the Crimson Soul demonic incantation. Then, one grand cultivator after another of the Scarlet Sun Empire was killed by their own people. The sword mark on the soul-transforming pool's rock wall was devouring copious amounts of soul power. Every time a grand cultivator of the Scarlet Sun Empire died, all of the soul power in the sword mark would be instantly absorbed. Not a single wisp of soul power could escape. What surprised Yu Yuan even more was that those grand cultivators were trapped in the sword mark because of their soul power and consciousness. Once they died, their discarnate souls would naturally fly into the sword mark. This made the sword mark on the wall of the pool crazily absorb soul power every time a grand cultivator died. The soul-transforming pool needed abundant soul power. Only then could it be reactivated. Yu Yuan was more and more convinced that the moment the soul-transforming pool was reactivated, he would be able to reconnect with the restrictions of this world through the sword light in his arm bone. When that time came, he would no longer be at the mercy of others. After the greatest sinner of the Divine Soul sect rushed out of the Forbidden Land with the heavenly Devil Green Nightmare, Emperor Heaven Shaking, and the Earth Devil White Ghoul, and escaped into the Starry River, he would still be the ruler of the Forbidden Land. Kill them all! Kill them all! Eyes narrowed, Yu Yuan cheered inwardly as she watched Duan Tianhong and Duan Tianxi slaughter their fellow Taoists from the Scarlet Sun Empire. He knew that he wasn't their primary target's target. Li Yu, Yen Lu, Su Yen, these so-called genius seedlings, were similarly not placed in the eyes of the Duan brothers. Whether he left or stayed, what could he change? Wait until the Duan brothers finished off the grand cultivators of the same empire, whose soul thoughts and spirit senses were trapped in the sword mark. With their cultivation and attainments, who would be able to escape alive after escaping for a while? Wouldn't they be caught and slaughtered one by one? This included Li Yuchan. She had just entered the Yin spirit realm. What could she do? Leave now. Li Yuchan's cold shout rang out once more. Big brother Yu! Big brother! Yu Yuan, Zhao Yafu, Yu Feifei, Zhan Tianxiang, and the others shouted and looked over. Yu Yuan turned back, took a deep breath, and said to Zhan Tianxiang, "You go first. Take care of my sister and Zhao girl for me." "What about you?" Zhan Tianxiang asked. "Trust me, I'm fine." Yu Yuan smiled brightly with indescribable ease. "It's been so long. You know me." "All right." Zhan Tianxiang nodded heavily. Under Li Yuchan and Li Yu's urging, he led Zhao Yafu and Yu Feifei away from the soul-transforming pool. Yu Yuan, the young lady of the Su family, dressed in green, gently pinched the corner of her clothes. Her eyebrows were filled with concern. "Take care. I hope you'll live well." Yu Yuan was surprised. Are these your heartfelt words? Believe it or not, I'm serious. Su Yen was a little angry. She rolled her eyes at him and whispered, I'm not like Sister Lin. I'm not as stubborn as she is. When I realized that you're extraordinary and unique, I didn't want to be your enemy. She suddenly reached out to Yu Yuan. I want to be friends with you. Beside Yu Yuan was the female general of the empire, Li Yuchan, Li Yu, and Qin Yun. The three of them looked at her with different expressions. Behind them, Duan Tianhong's lava pool hung high. Pillars of flame mixed with many flame talismans continued to bombard the great cultivators of the Scarlet Sun Empire. Duan Tianxi was holding a large crimson bell. As the bell spun, countless streams of flame flew out. That intense battle was still going on. They had no time to care about anything else. Duan Guanlan was hiding in another corner of the soul-transforming pool, separated from them. His eyes were dark red, like a blazing flame beast hiding in a mountain of fire. At this moment, the sky was red, and the sky above the soul-transforming pool was filled with light. It was as if a fireworks festival was taking place. All right. Yu Yuan thought for a moment and put away his playful smile. His expression was serious and serious. He stretched out his slender right hand and gently grasped Su Yan's small hand, which had been waiting for him for a few seconds. Looking straight into Su Yan's eyes, he said, If I can come out alive, that uncle of yours who flaunted his power in my Yu clan will come and apologize to me. I'm willing to write off the conflict between our families. A gentleman's word? Su Yan smiled softly. Yu Yuan nodded. A promise can't be taken back. Su Yan had a happy expression and gripped his hand tightly. Your hand is very warm and beautiful. After saying this, Su Yan spread out the divine feather heavenly robe and flew away. I'll take care of your sister. I can't participate in a battle of this level. Take care. Li Yu looked deeply at Yu Yuan, took out the Qingxian sword and handed it to Li Yuchan. And? No need. Li Yuchan shook her head. Take the Qingxian sword. I don't need it. Before Li Yu could say anything, she scolded. Don't be so wishy-washy. Li Yu made a sound of acknowledgement, grabbed the Qingxian sword, and turned to leave. From beginning to end, the Duan brothers did their best to kill their peers of the Scarlet Sun Empire and ignored the juniors of the Silver Moon Empire. Li Yuchan only took a deep breath when the juniors managed to escape. She suddenly sat on the ground. She slowly closed her eyes, as if she had no interest in this sudden battle. However, Yu Yuan acutely sensed the dangerous aura coming from her. Yu Yuan's eyes changed and he suddenly moved behind her. He said telepathically, Sister Li, don't be so anxious. Once the heroic soul art is used, the consequences are unpredictable. Regardless of success or failure, you won't have a good ending after exposing the heroic soul art. In this situation, if I don't use the heroic soul art, how can there be any hope? Li Yuchan said telepathically. Don't be anxious. Let's wait and see. Trust me, there might be a way, Yu Yuan said. Li Yuchan hesitated and nodded imperceptibly. Chapter 166. Puff, puff, puff. One figure after another was shattered by the fiery light. Among them, dozens of afterimages suddenly fled into the distance. Duan Tianhong, you and your brother killed cultivators from the same empire. Once this matter is exposed, the Duan clan will be exterminated. The Duan clan. You don't deserve to be called a pillar of the empire. Some of the fleeing figures were like lightning, some were like ghosts, and some were like clumps of flesh and blood. Almost all of the grand cultivators from the Scarlet Sun Empire were at the Nuance Realm and Een Soul Realm. They were severely injured the moment they escaped from the sword marks. There were also some whose soul wills and spiritual senses had been killed while they were still inside the sword marks in a muddle-headed state. They died unjustly and inexplicably. The sword marks on the walls of the pool contained the wonders of heaven and earth. The Nuance Realm and Een Soul Realm cultivators of the Scarlet Sun Empire felt as if they were in a foreign realm the moment they entered. They were confused and didn't know what to do. In the end, they were at the mercy of the Duan Tianhong. Those who managed to escape were severely injured. Knowing that they weren't a match for the Duan Tianhong brothers, they could only flee. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The god of fire that Duan Tianxi had transformed into split into 7 and chased after the numerous glowing figures. Duan Tianhong stood where he was, and the lava pool suddenly rose into the sky. Many fiery crystals fell from the edge of the lava pool. Every single one of the translucent, fiery crystals contained a soul that was struggling in pain. They seemed to be begging for Duan Tianhong's forgiveness. Duan Tianhong remained unmoved. Yu Yuan stood quietly, sensing the slightest change in the sword light in his arm bone. All of a sudden, he had a mysterious feeling by relying on the sword light. It was as if someone was secretly observing him from the sky. He subconsciously looked up into the sky. The night had long since faded and the sun was high in the sky. He stared at the clusters of clouds, feeling that there was someone hiding within. However, with his cultivation level, he couldn't see through it no matter how hard he tried, unable to see through it. Sect Master Qin. After a moment of hesitation, he called out softly. Qin Yun, whose attention had been focused on the battle in front of him, was taken aback. He turned his head to look at him and said, "What's wrong? Do you see those clusters of clouds in the sky?" Yu Yuan asked. Qin Yun took a glance and nodded slightly. "I saw it. I feel that someone is hiding inside." Yu Yuan frowned. "My realm is low. After the restriction of this world is gone, I can't sense the secrets here. Sovereign Qin, can you help me?" "All right." Before he could finish, Qin Yun of the 7 Divinities sect agreed. In the next instant, a pure soul thought suddenly rose into the sky. Yu Yuan could clearly sense it with his heavenly soul. Liu Chan, who was sitting quietly and secretly preparing to circulate the heroic soul technique, also sensed it and looked at the clouds in surprise. After Qin Yun's pure soul thought soared several hundred meters into the sky, it suddenly materialized. It condensed into a soul that could be sensed by a subtle realm expert and clearly seen by a Een spirit realm expert. The illusory soul floated in the air as it attempted to enter the clusters of clouds. Bang! Qin Yun's soul seemed to have collided with an invisible wall of air and was bounced back. Within the soul pool, Qin Yun's main body revealed a look of shock. He exclaimed, "Yu Yuan, your guess is right. There's definitely something wrong with those clusters of clouds." "What's wrong?" Yu Yuan asked curiously. "There's a barrier that's preventing my soul thought from penetrating, so I can't see the truth." Qin Yun's expression was grave. After the heaven-sealing soul dissipation formation was dispelled, could there be another powerful soul like Emperor Han Tian and heavenly demon Green Nightmare that escaped and hibernated in the clouds in the sky? It can't be, right? Liu Chan was alarmed. She also subconsciously looked at the sky. Deep within the dense clusters of clouds, there was a blank scroll hanging high up in the sky. Her Majesty, the Empress of the Silver Moon Empire, was nowhere to be seen. As the ruler of a country, Her Majesty's Een spirit would not stay in one place for long. However, the white-robed Een spirit of the Scarlet Sun Empire's imperial preceptor, who had met her here, had yet to leave. What was preventing Qin Yun's soul thought from entering was the barrier set up by Zhou Tsangmin. Qin Yun knew that something was amiss, but he could not penetrate it. He also could not sense that the aura belonged to the Empire's imperial preceptor. As the imperial preceptor of the Scarlet Sun Empire, he was an expert at the soul-traversing realm. Even if a Een spirit was present, if he intervened, he could have prevented the tragedy that was happening in the soul dissipation pool. With his attainments in the realm and his perspective, he knew everything about the conflict in the soul dissipation pool. He already knew that Duan Guanlan had secretly cultivated the Crimson Soul Fiend art. He watched Duan Tianhong kill Wu Zimo, and also watched the Duan brothers attack together to eliminate the other cultivators of the Scarlet Sun Empire, who had come under his orders. He had seen everything, but he had allowed the situation to develop in a direction that was out of his control. He had not set things right. No one knew what the Imperial Preceptor of the Scarlet Sun Empire was thinking. Yu Yuan. He muttered the two words softly as he chewed on them carefully. His eyes were thought-provoking. With his realm, he could see the outside world's variant soul Great Fae that had surged in from the Forbidden Zone's entrance. They had either transformed into billowing yellow smoke, a flowing stream, or a bolt of lightning. They were all gathering towards the soul dissipation pool. However, the Imperial Preceptor's gaze did not linger on the variant soul Great Fae. It was as though the so-called variant soul Great Fae were nothing in the Imperial Preceptor's eyes. Could the gigantic bronze coffin that escaped beyond the heavens be related to that kid named Yu Yuan? Why did Qin Yun's Azure Sun arrow have 4 imprints that belonged to him? Also, Liu Chan actually calmed down because of his thoughts. What is this kid's background? Deep in the clouds, Zhou Tsangmin was aware of every action in the soul dissipation pool, as well as Yu Yuan and Liu Chan's thoughts. Boom! The crimson bell suddenly flew over from the sky outside as streams of fiery light entered it. Duan Tianxi's fire god Dharma idol dragged the crimson bell and stood outside the soul dissipation pool like an ancient fire god looking down. Duan Tianhong chuckled, and the terrifyingly blazing lava pool suddenly sank. It sank into his head and instantly disappeared. At this moment, the Scarlet Sun Empire Grand Cultivators surrounding the soul dissipation pool had all been killed. None of them survived. Something is amiss. Yu Yuan glanced around with a strange expression on his face. There were also several Yin divinities from the Crimson Sun Empire, but they all died so quickly. Their realms are clearly similar, but the difference in strength is so great. Qin Yun's expression was gloomy as he said, "The combat strength that the Duan brothers displayed this time far exceeded what everyone knew." Yu Yuan was surprised. The Duan brothers were never this strong in the past? Qin Yun nodded. At this moment, Duan Tianhong and Duan Tianxi accompanied Duan Guanlan on either side as they walked towards Yu Yuan and the other two. There were 3 people on each side. "Brother Qin, you won't help outsiders, right?" Duan Tianhong said with a smile. "The people you just killed were our own." Qin Yun smiled bitterly. "No, they were all outsiders." Duan Tianhong smiled from ear to ear. "Brother Qin, what do you think of the Lord Imperial Preceptor?" "Why do you say that?" Qin Yun was puzzled. "If those people were the Lord Imperial Preceptor and he wanted them dead, do you think there's a problem?" Duan Tianhong had a serious expression. "If I say that the Lord Imperial Preceptor knew that we killed them, or even instructed him to do so, would you still be enemies with us?" Qin Yun was appalled. "How is that possible? Why would the Lord Imperial Preceptor want you to kill your own people? You don't need to know the reason. I only want to ask you one thing. If the Lord Imperial Preceptor did not give you a reason and told you to kill them, would you have done it?" Duan Tianhong asked again. Qin Yun pondered for a moment before saying, "I wouldn't have. Those who walk different paths cannot work together." Duan Tianhong sighed. "What a pity." Chapter 167. Liu Chan, who had been sitting in silence for a long time, slowly stood up. Duan Tianxi smiled and said to Liu Chan, "Generally, you've just entered the Yin spirit realm. Your existence can't change the situation." As the sister of the Silver Moon Empire's Empress, Liu Chan had a bad reputation in the Scarlet Sun Empire. However, compared to Qin Yun and the Duan brothers, Liu Chan was a junior. In the past, she was only in the subtle realm, not the Yin spirit realm. She wasn't qualified to be compared to the Duan brothers. Potential and talent referred to the future. Perhaps in 100 years, Liu Chan could reach or even surpass them. But now Yu Yuan? Liu Chan, who had stood up, ignored Duan Tianxi and glanced at Yu Yuan. Yu Yuan frowned slightly. Qin Yun said, "Are their deaths really the state preceptor's orders?" Even now, Qin Yun was still puzzled and didn't believe the Duan brothers. "Senior Qin." Duan Guanlan chimed in with a sincere look on his face. "No matter what happens during this trip to the forbidden land of the falling moons, and whether or not I expose the fact that I practice the Crimson Soul incantation, they will all die." "Why?" Qin Yun snorted. "Those people in the Empire aren't obedient enough. They were sent to the fallen moon forbidden land to die." Duan Tianhong smiled. "Forgive me for not telling you the specific reason." Duan Guanlan stuck a dark gold talisman to his forehead. The dark gold talisman was engraved with exquisite and complicated lines. It shone with golden light and threads of extremely pure soul thought flowed through it. Yu Yuan glanced at the talisman and exclaimed, "The Red Devil School's gilded gold demon soul talisman." Duan Guanlan was shocked. "How do you know?" The Duan brothers were equally shocked. "The gilded gold demon soul talisman is unique to the Red Devil School. You're young, only in the spirit nurturing realm, and you're from Dark Moon City." Duan Tianhong frowned. "There shouldn't be many people in the Qianxian continent who have heard of this talisman. Even on the Tranquil continent and Tianyuan continent, very few people know of it." "This talisman?" Qin Yun was also surprised. "Don't try it. Use your soul remembrance to control Duan Guanlan or directly extinguish his soul." Yu Yuan sighed and said mainly to Liu Chan, "Trust me, don't try it." Just now, he acutely sensed that Liu Chan was planning to use some kind of soul art to kill Duan Guanlan. Liu Chan wore a cold expression and did not answer. Duan Tianhong and Duan Tianxi were both at the Yin spirit stage. Their mastery of soul refinement was definitely superior to hers. The secret soul magic she practiced wouldn't be able to harm Duan Tianhong and Duan Tianxi. They would only humiliate her. But Duan Guanlan had yet to reach the subtle realm. He was only at the late stage of the profound breaker realm. With her vicious soul poison technique, she was confident that the Duan brothers wouldn't be able to lend a helping hand in time. With the gilded devil soul talisman, you won't be able to break through the protection of the talisman with your Yin spirit cultivation. Yu Yuan explained helplessly. This talisman was secretly refined by a talisman crafting master at the Red Devil School. There were only 7 of them. With this talisman, even a young spirit's psyche cannot penetrate his mind ball and destroy his 3 souls. And if this talisman is stuck to your forehead, your psyche will forcibly charge in. Even a soul-traversing realm will be injured. As for you at the Yin spirit stage, there's still you. He then looked at Qin Yun. It's not as simple as asking for a rebuff. All of you will lose a layer of skin. It's probably even more troublesome than being stuck in a sword scar. Yu Yuan explained the origins of the gilded devil soul talisman. Yu Yuan? Duan Tianhong's expression turned solemn. His expression changed slightly as he growled, "Who is your master? Why do you know so much about the gilded devil soul talisman?" At this moment, deep within the clouds, the imperial preceptor of the Scarlet Sun Empire also revealed a look of shock. "Not only do you know the origins of the gilded devil soul talisman, but you actually know that there are 7 of them. You even know the many mysteries of this talisman." Zhou Tsangmin's Yin spirit had a thought. Layers of clouds suddenly surged as the sea of clouds churned endlessly. Only Duan Tianhong could sense it with the help of an artifact. No one else could sense it. It suddenly descended. Under Duan Tianhong's clothes, a jade token was hanging from his skin. It emitted a faint glow. The message was clearly transmitted. Duan Tianhong instantly understood the imperial preceptor's thoughts. He made a hand gesture to Duan Tianxi, indicating that he should not act rashly. Then, he said to Duan Guanlan, "We have to figure out this child's origins. Duan Guanlan understood. Do you want him alive? Yes, we can't kill him instantly. Duan Tianhong gave an affirmative answer and said, Yu Yuan, if your sect has a relationship with the Red Devil School, please tell us as soon as possible. As long as you can prove that your sect and the Red Devil School are friends and not enemies, you may be able to live. As for them, looking at Qin Yun and Li Yuchan, Duan Tianhong said, Their life or death depends on what you say. Qin Yun of the Seven Divine Sects and the female general of the Silver Moon Empire both looked at Yu Yuan with incredulous gazes. It was as if they were asking, What's going on with you? The Gilded Devil Soul Talisman was a mysterious talisman that was kept secret by the Red Devil School. There were only 7 of them. The 7 Gilded Devil Soul Talismans had countless uses. They could block the soul thoughts of Yang spirit experts. Once they were placed on the forehead, if a Soul Wander Realm or Een Spirit Realm expert dared to offend them, they would be severely injured even if they didn't die. Not only did Duan Guanlan cultivate the Crimson Soul demonic art, but he had also received a Gilded Devil Soul Talisman as a reward. This was no small matter. The Duan family had 2 brothers who came from the Red Devil School. Duan Guanlan had even been accepted by the Primal Yang sect to cultivate? What was even stranger was that the 2 of them were willing to unconditionally obey the orders of the state preceptor, Zhou Songmin. They worked for the state preceptor regardless of right or wrong. Did the state preceptor know the identity of the Red Devil School? And the state preceptor, Zhou Songmin, was destined to be accepted by the Primal Yang sect. He would soon leave the Qianxian continent and be treated with great respect by the Primal Yang sect. He was even reserved an elder position. What the hell is going on? Ahem, do you know if Lord Feng Yao has been active in the Qianxian continent recently? Yu Yuan suddenly said. The moment these words came out, the Duan brothers' expressions changed. How do you know about Lord Feng Yao? Duan Tianhong couldn't hold it in any longer. Not many people in the Red Devil School know about Lord Feng Yao leaving the sect and secretly entering the Qianxian continent. Not long ago, I met Lord Feng Yao in Dark Moon City. Yu Yuan laughed softly. Lord Feng Yao took the original city lord of Dark Moon City, Yuan Qiufeng, away from Dark Moon City. At the time, I was with Senior Yuan. When? Duan Tianhong exclaimed. About 2 or 3 months ago, Yu Yuan answered. Duan Tianhong and Duan Tianxi looked at each other. Then Duan Tianxi said, At the time, it should have been right after Lord Feng Yao left. Yuan Qiufeng is also a member of the Red Devil School. Duan Tianhong was surprised, then snorted and said, No, Lord Feng Yao naturally knows about the Gilded Devil Soul Talisman, but why would he tell you? Even that Yuan Qiufeng shouldn't have the qualifications to know about the Gilded Devil Soul Talisman. Yu Yuan frowned, considering if he should reveal more secrets to gain the trust of the Duan brothers and learn of the Red Devil School's intentions. With his understanding of the Red Devil School and his relationship with the Red Devil School in his previous life, he had the ability to gain the complete trust of the Red Devil School. However, if he did that, it was very likely that he would expose the secret of his reincarnation. Thus, his senior apprentice brother Zhong Chichen would know about it in advance. He suddenly felt a headache coming on. At this moment, Duan Tianhong, who had been interrogating him for a while, suddenly changed expression. What is it? Duan Guanlan asked curiously. They're here. What's here? Those variant soul great demons. When these words were said, Qin Yun and Li Yuchan were shocked. Chapter 168. Outside the Forbidden Grounds, there were many variant soul great demons that were deeply connected to this world. Those variant soul great demons seemed to have been suppressed here a long time ago. For some unknown reason, or perhaps it was a coincidence, some of the deviant souls had broken free from this heaven and earth, whether they were whole or part of the deviant souls. However, when this world changed and they sensed it, they still wanted to barge in. There seemed to be something inside the forbidden grounds that made them drool and yearn for it day and night. Seniors. When Yu Yuan heard that the deviant soul great demon was about to arrive, he was secretly overjoyed. Even his voice was much louder than before. Let's talk about what relationship Lord Feng Yao and I have with the Crimson Demon sect later. I roughly understand what you mean. You came on the orders of the Imperial Preceptor. You also plan to kill those variant soul great demons. Is that so? Duan Tianxi nodded. Then, how about we get down to business first? Yu Yuan asked with a smile. Duan Tianhong's eyes flashed as he smiled. Regardless of whether you, Yu Yuan, have any connections with the Red Devil School, I have to say that your temperament is extraordinary. Not panicking in the face of danger was a very good quality. It was even more difficult to maintain a clear mind and train of thought. Don't worry too much. According to the Imperial Preceptor's guess, the so-called variant soul great demons that came from outside the forbidden grounds are nothing to be afraid of. Duan Tianhong looked into the distance with a cold expression. The ones hiding in the depths of the forbidden grounds and the ones that soared into the sky are the real terror. Fortunately, they are no longer a threat. Seniors, please eliminate the invading variant soul great demons. I look forward to it. Yu Yuan was very shameless as he hid in a corner of the soul pool and said to Qin Yun and Li Yuchan, in my opinion, you just need to protect me. Those two seniors and the Imperial Preceptor of the Scarlet Sun Empire should have enough confidence. Even though many of the great cultivators of the Scarlet Sun Empire had died after the massacre, the soul energy that the sword marks on the walls of the pool still seemed to be insufficient. Yu Yuan's arm-bone sword beam was indeed unbearably hot, but the sword's soul hidden in the depths showed no signs of awakening. Due to the exhaustion of its soul energy, the sealing heaven soul exchanging formation was still far from being able to be activated again. Therefore, he still needed dead people, or dead souls, all living things in the world, as long as they had souls and wisdom, as long as their souls were strong enough, they could turn into soul energy for the soul refining pool and fill it up. The heaven-sealing soul dispersing formation, created by the Shunhun sect, had soul energy that was everything. Qi La. Suddenly, threads of blazing sword energy connected to the bones in his arm. Yu Yuan used his heavenly soul to probe and sense. He could sense that there were a total of 9 sword glows on his left arm and elbow. They were connected with each other mysteriously, as if they were drawing a mysterious picture. The 9 points of sword light were like 9 stars, releasing a brilliant light. The rays of light condensed into lines that intertwined with each other. In his previous life, Yu Yuan didn't have any cultivation experience, so he had a unique understanding of all kinds of spiritual arrays and diagrams in the world. However, he had never seen the diagrams carved by the 9 sword points on his arm bone. However, he couldn't be more familiar with the aura that emanated from it. It was boundless, vast, ancient, and leisurely. It was filled with an ancient and domineering aura. Poof! A dim light spot suddenly flashed between his eyebrows. The dim light spot was like a black rice grain. It suddenly released a dim light and attempted to enter the Naiwan between his eyebrows. He couldn't see it himself, but the expressions of Qin Yun and Li Yuchan beside him changed. At this moment, a picture suddenly appeared on Yu Yuan's handsome face, which was filled with astonishment, and under his fair skin, a picture suddenly appeared. It was a strange picture that started with 9 brilliant lights and was drawn by sword-intent rays. When the dim light spot of the black rice grain rushed into the Naiwan between his eyebrows, it made a sizzling sound, as if it was pulled apart by an invisible force. The expressions of Qin Yun and Li Yuchan, who were at the Yin spirit realm, changed. The dark spots of light had appeared without anyone noticing, and they were all shocked by it. They weren't prepared for the dim light spot's attack on Yu Yuan. If not for Yu Yuan himself, if not for the strange picture appearing on Yu Yuan's face, with his spirit nurture realm cultivation, his Naiwen would have been pierced through and his soul would have been destroyed. Chi. With a thought, Qin Yun aimed an azure sun arrow at the dim light spot. Before the azure sun arrow could be fired, the dim light spot instantly disappeared after its attack failed. Everyone seemed to have seen a dim moon luster flash and disappear. They couldn't see anything else. Yu Yuan's arm bone was still burning. He stared at the void in front of him, at the spot where the dim light spot appeared. He shouted, "It's a crescent moon pendant. The pendant is filled with moon energy, filled with his dark soul energy. Moon demon, another moon demon from beyond the heavens." As soon as the occult catalog appeared on his face, he saw it clearly. The dim light spot was the size of a grain of rice. After it was enlarged, it became a crescent moon pendant. The pendant was small and exquisite, but it was dark and deep. It seemed to release moonlight, but because the moon demon's soul energy was dark, the brightness of the moonlight was completely drowned out by his soul energy. Moon demon! Duan Tianhong snorted coldly and grinned. A branch of the heavenly devils that seems to have been wiped out in the outer realms dares to act recklessly in Howran. You don't know that the senior cultivators of my Red Devil School went to the outer realms to hunt moon demons to wash away the remnant fire poison in the Yang spirit. Ah! Duan Tianxi also laughed. The moon demon clan is nothing. Duan Guanlan opened his mouth and was about to speak when he suddenly fell silent. The gilt devil soul talisman that was stuck between his eyebrows suddenly shone brightly. In an instant, nearly 100 thin bolts of golden-red lightning shot out from the tiny gilded devil soul talisman. The gilded devil soul talisman became blank. A mysterious picture made of interweaving golden-red lightning took shape in front of Duan Guanlan in a breath's time. From afar, the mysterious picture looked like the holy land of the Red Devil School. The sky was filled with burning clouds. The burning clouds seemed to be burning the sky. Under the burning sky, a majestic and solemn crimson palace sat in a winding stream of flames. Fizz! All of a sudden, a dark spot of light appeared within the mysterious catalogue. The dim light spot violently twisted and transformed into a crescent black moon. The black crescent moon was forced to appear in the Crimson Fiend sect's holy land, which was manifested in the mysterious catalogue. Releasing dim light, the black crescent moon flew around in search of an exit, hoping to escape. Within the mysterious catalogue, the burning sky suddenly pressed down. Soon after, clusters of burning clouds could be seen transforming into numerous burning crows. Tens of thousands of burning crows pecked at the black crescent moon. Miserable screams rang out in the strange world inside the gilded devil soul talisman. Even Yu Yuan could hear them. Yu Yuan even saw small holes appear in the black crescent moon. What flowed out of the small holes was soul power that was as faint as water. A crisp sound came from the black crescent moon, and the heaven and earth that the black crescent moon was in suddenly drilled into the ground without a care for anything else. The streams of flames lashed at the black crescent moon as if they were living creatures or whips of flame. Cracks gradually appeared on the black crescent moon, but it desperately escaped and drilled into the earth. Finally, it broke through the earth. A miserable scream rang out in the soul-dissolving pool. Then, everyone saw a crescent moon pendant full of cracks and small holes suddenly appear and try to escape in an extremely sorry state. You hid your aura very well. What a pity. Duan Tianhong raised his hand and pointed. The lava pool flew out of the top of his head and immediately covered the crescent moon pendant that was riddled with holes. Of course, an otherworldly demon like you can't recognize my sect's gilded devil soul talisman. If you knew how powerful this talisman was, you wouldn't have been so stupid as to try to enter his mind and possess him. The crescent moon pendant, which had been severely damaged, flew into the lava pool in an instant. Tens of millions of fiery crystals condensed into the blazing flame characters of the Red Devil School and surrounded the crescent moon pendant. Specks of fiery light rushed into the crescent moon pendant and began to melt it. This ancient moon devil, who had been hiding outside the forbidden area to avenge Consort Yu, was now burning. Chapter 169. Crackle. The crescent moon pendant burned fiercely within the lava pool. The ancient lunar devil's refined thought could not come out of the pendant. The many blazing fire characters burned away the wisps of thought. This ancient lunar devil was not weak to begin with. To be able to suddenly appear without the knowledge of Qin Yun and Li Yuchan to kill Yu Yuan, it naturally had its own unique abilities when it came to hiding thought. Unfortunately, it had suffered a setback at the hands of Yu Yuan and then recklessly tried to possess Duan Guanlan. How could the gilded gold Devil Soul Talisman be broken so easily? If not for the gilt Devil Soul Talisman on their foreheads, how could Duan Tianhong and Duan Tianxi dare to be so calm? If Duan Guanlan, who had not reached the subtle realm, was attacked by Li Yuchan and Qin Yun, they would not be able to protect him. The ancient lunar devil is only SOSO. Duan Tianhong smiled brightly and said to Li Yuchan, "Have you seen the power of my sex gilt Devil Soul Talisman?" Li Yuchan's face was ashen, fear lingering in her heart. That ancient lunar devil was even more dangerous than Consort Yu. After reaching the Yin Soul realm, she was only confident that she could fight Consort Yu to a draw. The ancient lunar devil that had been devoured by the lava pool was definitely stronger than Consort Yu. So what? What would happen if it tried to possess Duan Guanlan, who was protected by the gilt Devil Soul Talisman? If not for the gilt Devil Soul Talisman, no matter how strong Duan Tianhong was, he would not have been able to so easily devour it with the lava pool. Thinking about it this way, if Yu Yuan had not seen the terror of the gilt Devil Soul Talisman, she would have tried to kill Duan Guanlan as well. What would have happened to her? All right, there's no point in saying this. Yu Yuan smiled. The appearance of an ancient lunar devil means that other variant soul Great Fae will arrive soon. The Red Devil School's Crimson Soul, Devil Art and Duan Tianhong's Magma Pool didn't have the ability to absorb soul remembrance. As the ancient moon devil perished in the crescent moon pendant, Yu Yuan clearly sensed that the walls of the soul refining pool were quietly accepting it. It's meaningless. Duan Tianhong also agreed. He narrowed his eyes slightly and looked deeply at Yu Yuan. He said, "What I'm curious about is that you were actually able to survive the attack of the ancient moon devil." Duan Tianxi and Duan Guanlan also looked surprised. Previously, when the dim light had suddenly flashed, the strange pattern that had appeared on Yu Yuan's face had shone brightly for a moment. In an instant, the ancient moon demon changed its target and charged at Duan Guanlan. The ancient lunar demon seemed to recognize the strange picture on Yu Yuan's face and knew that it could not afford to offend him. That was why it acted so decisively. Who would have thought that he would bump into an iron plate once again? He was dragged into the terrifying flame inside the mysterious talisman by the gilded Devil Soul Talisman. However, why would that pattern appear on Yu Yuan's face? If this pattern could make the ancient moon demon flee in fear, then... Duan Tianxi and Duan Tianhong exchanged a glance. They both realized that this unknown junior from Dark Moon City had too many secrets. They had no choice but to treat him seriously. "It's here again." Duan Guanlan pressed a finger on the gilded Devil Soul Talisman between his eyebrows. The lines carved on the talisman once again shone with dazzling light. They were like rivers of fire that had been shrunk thousands of times, hiding extremely refined flame power and soul power. Roar! A roar that was filled with ruthlessness and madness rumbled from the ground in the distance. The snow-white ghost ape was carrying a dark red stone pillar. It roared all the way and took the lead to charge over. The other variant souls seemed to have a tacit understanding. They either followed it from a distance or hid themselves. They didn't dare to act rashly before they figured out the situation in the soul-refining pool. They all remained rational and clear-headed. As for the ghost ape, it was simple-minded. It was perfect to use as cannon fodder and as a test subject. Heh! Duan Tianhong suddenly jumped from the bottom of the lava pool to the sky above the soul-refining pool. He glanced from afar and said teasingly, "A ghost ape, a level 6 demon beast." A level 6 demon beast was equal in combat power to a human Yin spirit. But in Duan Tianhong's words, a level 6 demon beast like the ghost ape was not worth mentioning. "Let him come over first," Duan Guanlan interrupted. "A demon beast like the ghost ape is almost impossible to find in the Qianxian continent. I wonder where this ghost ape came from." Ghost ape. Liu Chan frowned and muttered softly, "My Silver Moon Empire once suppressed a ghost ape. If my guess is correct, it is that one." Yu Yuan looked at her. "A long, long time ago," Liu Chan explained. "I don't know the details, but I want to make one thing clear. The ghost ape we suppressed was not level 6. It was level 7. Duan Tianhong's expression finally changed slightly. "Level 7? It was clearly level 6. Duan Guanlan exclaimed softly. "It fell in rank," Liu Chan concluded. "It should be the same one. But it was suppressed for many years and did not drink blood or absorb spirit energy into its body. As time passed, its rank fell instead of rising." Yu Yuan's expression was dark. "If that is the case, it is best to kill it as soon as possible to prevent any accidents." In his previous life on the Tranquil Continent, he had a deep understanding of the demon beasts of the Goblin Temple. He knew very well that great demon beasts that fell in rank recovered much faster than humans. Demon beasts could recover quickly as long as they accumulated enough blood and spirit energy. Only demon gods like the ancient god of Golden Elephant, who had once reached the peak, would have a relatively long road to recovery after falling in rank. A level 6 ghost ape was only equal to a human Yin spirit. Of the people present, 4 had reached Yin spirit. The Duan brothers were confident that they could kill the level 6 ghost ape. But if the ghost ape could recover to level 7, it would have the combat strength of a human soul wander realm expert. In the Yin spirit realm, many of the soul arts and powerful attacks used against level 6 demon beasts would be greatly reduced against level 7 demon beasts. Exceeding one level meant that there were too many dangers, and there would be many accidents. A level 7 ghost ape must be treated carefully. Duan Tianxi's smile faded. After a moment of thought, he summoned the Crimson Bell. His own Yin divinity flew out and transformed into a god of fire. The flame deity was surrounded by fiery clouds that looked like auspicious clouds. Yu Yuan couldn't help but take a closer look. When he saw the ancient imprints in the depths of the fire clouds, he nodded slightly and said, "Not bad." Duan Tianxi was shocked. "Kid, what did you see?" Very few people in the Red Devil School cultivate this demonic art. "You've cultivated it well." Yu Yuan expressed his sincere respect. Rumor has it that after his death, no one in the Red Devil School has been able to learn the demonic art of the Fire Cloud Flame Devil. I didn't think that you would be able to cultivate the Fire Cloud Flame Devil's demonic art to such a high level. Duan Tianxi and Duan Tianhong trembled at the same time. At this moment, Duan Guanlan's eyes also lit up as he stared at Yu Yuan. The Fire Cloud Flame Devil was a legend in the Red Devil School. At his peak, the Fire Cloud Flame Devil was at the late Freedom Realm. He was only one step away from condensing his human soul into a nascent spirit and becoming one of the most terrifying people in Howren. The Fire Cloud Flame Devil had died in a bloody battle between the Tianyuan continent and the Tranquil Continent. Rumor had it that when the Primal Yang sect had entered the Tranquil Continent, they had first sought out the Red Devil School. The Primal Yang sect had spared no effort to destroy the Grand Formation in the Red Devil School's sacred land and finally killed the Fire Cloud Flame Devil. all of this had been to prevent him from forming a nascent spirit. It was clear that the Fire Cloud Flame Devil was a great threat in the eyes of the Primal Yang sect that had to be eliminated. After the Fire Cloud Flame Devil's death, the demonic art he cultivated had been widely spread in the Red Devil School. Unfortunately, no disciple of the Red Devil School had been able to cultivate it to a high enough level. Who would have thought that an anomaly like Duan Tianxi would appear after so many years? The Fire Cloud Flame Devil's surname is Duan. He's the ancestor of the Duan family. Chapter 170. Duan Tianxi confidently explained the Flame Cloud Flame Devil's background. The ancestor of the Duan family. When Yu Yuan mentioned the Fire Cloud Flame Devil, Duan Tianhong and Duan Guanlan also had complicated expressions. So that's how it is. Yu Yuan nodded slightly. I've only heard of the Fire Cloud Flame Devil's fame, but I don't know its origins. I didn't expect the Fire Cloud Flame Devil to be an ancestor of the Duan family. No wonder two members of the Duan family cultivate the spirit arts of the Red Devil School and call themselves disciples of the Red Devil School. At this point, he was 100% certain that the Duan family and the Red Devil School had a close relationship. It was possible that the entire Duan family had secretly surrendered to the Red Devil School and become a part of the Red Devil School. He just didn't know if the Flaming Sun Emperor and Imperial Preceptor Zhou Tsangmin of the Scarlet Sun Empire knew about this. The Scarlet Sun Empire and the Primal Yang sect were deeply connected, and the Primal Yang sect and the Red Devil School were sworn enemies. The Fire Cloud Flame Devil of the Duan family had been killed by the Primal Yang sect. Yu Yuan suddenly felt that the Duan family, Imperial Preceptor Zhou Tsangmin, the Primal Yang sect, and the Red Devil School probably had many secrets in the Scarlet Sun Empire. Aolo! Aolo! An earth-shattering howl accompanied by snow-white frost and whistling icicles surged over. Qin Yun suddenly rose into the sky. He looked over with rapt attention, and saw that the snow-white ghost ape seemed to be engulfed in the icy spiritual qi of heaven and earth. It was as if it had been refined into its flesh and bones, transforming into a fierce icy hurricane. Demon beasts like the ghost ape were naturally fond of cold and desolate places. The demon blood that flowed through their bones and meridians was like ice. However, the ghost ape was also proficient in the art of soul refinement. This made the ghost ape look brainless and crude, but not only was its body strong, it was also immune to most soul secret arts and could use a lot of its innate soul energy. Whoosh! Whoosh whoosh! All of a sudden, wisps of scarlet and faint green flesh aura shot out of the cracks in the earth outside the soul-transforming pool. Like a waterfall of light, streams of rich flesh aura poured into the frigid tornado created by the ghost ape. Then, it quickly disappeared into the ghost ape's body. The ghost ape suddenly swelled up like an inflated balloon. Its size continued to increase. A brutal, frigid, crazy, and cruel aura burst out from the depths of the icy tornado. Yu Yuan suddenly felt a stifling pressure. It was as if he was being suppressed by an evil being that covered the sky. His heavenly soul could faintly sense the terrifying demonic qi that had emerged from the ghost ape's body was spreading out in the sky like a heavenly canopy. The Duan brothers, Qin Yun and Li Yuchan, had extremely solemn expressions. That ghost ape is accumulating demonic power at a rapid rate, and is growing stronger and stronger. Li Yuchan could not help but say, it was a rank 7 ghost ape in the first place. It probably came to this soul-transforming pool because it knew that rich flesh aura had been hidden in the cracks in the earth around the soul-transforming pool for many years. In fact, that rich flesh aura was his backup plan. He prepared it for himself a long, long time ago. Yu Yuan could also sense that the wisps of scarlet and faint green flesh aura that shot into the sky were greatly increasing the ghost ape's strength and its terrifying demonic energy. Would the Duan brothers be able to fight the ghost ape that had fallen to rank 6 once it returned to rank 7? The jade token hanging behind Duan Tianhong's chest once again transmitted the instructions of the Lord State Preceptor through soul thought. This ghost ape that seems to be used as cannon fodder by the variant Soul Great Demon is not stupid at all. Duan Tianhong took a deep breath and did not dare to hesitate any longer. He gave Duan Tianxi a look and ran towards the ghost ape first. The scorching lava pond suddenly expanded rapidly. It spun in the air and scattered billions of sparks. A long spear suddenly appeared at the bottom of the lava pond. Ryup! The burning flame spear did not appear to be material. It was the essence of the lava pond's flames. Duan Tianhong gripped the flame spear and flew towards the ghost ape with the lava pond above his head. Duan Tianxi shouted softly. The flame figure formed by his own soul sat quietly on the crimson bell and looked around to prevent other variant soul great demons from ambushing him. Suddenly, only Yu Yuan, Li Yuchan, and Duan Guanlan were left in the soul-transforming pool. Duan Guanlan had the gilded devil soul talisman stuck to his forehead. He was fearless and leisurely wandering around the sword-marked walls of the pool. Yu Yuan acutely sensed that when the gilded devil soul talisman appeared in his mind, Duan Guanlan seemed to have opened a third eye. It was as if through the gilded devil soul talisman, he could see the wonders contained within the sword mark. Furthermore, the sword mark wouldn't quietly devour spirit stones and soul energy, so he wouldn't be injured. What should we do? Li Yuchan asked softly. Let's wait and see. Yu Yuan smiled softly at her. If the Duan brothers are following orders from the Grand Preceptor, Zhou Tsangmin, then the Scarlet Sun Empire will be in a lot of trouble. We don't need to be in a hurry. As long as the two brothers can block a few waves of attacks, our Grand Cultivators should be able to arrive. Li Yuchan stared at him with cold eyes. What's your relationship with the Red Devil School? Why do you ask? Yu Yuan said with a smile. The Primal Yang sect and the Red Devil School are mortal enemies, and the Primal Yang sect is behind the Scarlet Sun Empire. Li Yuchan looked up at Duan Tianxi and then at Duan Guanlan. The Scarlet Sun Empire and the Silver Moon Empire have been fighting for years. In fact, my sister has secretly met with cultivators from the Red Devil School several times. Unfortunately, the Red Devil School hasn't made any promises. Yu Yuan stilled. You're saying, our country has always wanted to be on good terms with the Red Devil School. Li Yuchan was a little helpless. But the Red Devil School isn't very interested in us and hasn't had any deep contact with us. Yu Yuan suddenly understood. The Red Devil School was a force on the Tranquil Continent that was second only to the Devil's Palace and the Goblin Temple. However, because of their bad relationship with the Primal Yang sect and the relationship between the Primal Yang sect and the Scarlet Sun Empire, the Empress of the Silver Moon Empire wanted to rope them in. However, the Red Devil School seemed to look down on the tiny Silver Moon Empire. In addition, the arrogant cultivators of the Red Devil School had no intention of fighting on the Qianxian continent. The reason they cultivated so tenaciously was so that they could one day openly challenge the Primal Yang sect on the Tianyuan continent and exact revenge on them. Li Yuchan saw that he was very familiar with the Red Devil School. In addition, his clear and logical explanation surprised the Duan brothers. This female general wanted to establish a connection with the Red Devil School through him. We'll talk about this later. Yu Yuan glanced at Duan Guanlan. He didn't talk much and said, Li Yu and the others aren't stupid enough to leave here and retreat in the direction of our country, right? No, they're not stupid, Li Yuchan said. That's good. Yu Yuan nodded. As long as they don't encounter any variant soul great demons from our country, they should be fine in the short term. Yu Yuan, you have the aura of these sword marks on your body. Duan Guanlan, who had been walking around the sword marks on the wall, suddenly stopped. Have you comprehended some of the secrets of these sword marks? No, Yu Yuan said. The strange pattern that appeared on your face earlier should be the same as the sword mark on the wall. Duan Guanlan pointed at a sword mark on the wall behind him. When I sent my soul awareness into it, I saw the pattern on your face not long ago. As soon as he said this, a look of surprise appeared on Yu Yuan's face, and she subconsciously turned to look at the catalogue. Duan Guanlan suddenly moved and stood in front of the sword mark on the wall. The gilded gold devil soul talisman between his eyebrows shone brightly. Yu Yuan looked at it, his eyes filled with confusion. Chapter 171. Duan Guanlan exclaimed softly. His face was full of joy, as if he had discovered a new continent. The gilt devil soul talisman stuck to his glabella flashed with runes and interwove in the air before him. It seemed to recreate the Red Devil School's holy land. A winding river of fire, a burning sky, and magnificent palaces. Many fire-attribute spirit birds danced in the red clouds. Crimson fire turtles and fire-breathing beasts could be seen in the depths of the river of fire on the ground. Yu Yuan. Liu Chan's expression changed as he suddenly shouted, "Duan Guanlan, what are you doing?" At this moment, Yu Yuan, who had been looking at the sword mark on the lake wall, had his eyes sunken. The light in his eyes seemed to be being pulled away bit by bit. Yu Yuan didn't move. He just stared straight at Duan Guanlan. More accurately, he was staring at the gilt devil soul talisman on Duan Guanlan's glabella. "It's nothing." Duan Guanlan smiled brightly and clasped his hands towards Liu Chan. "Generally, please don't get too excited. I heard your conversation with Yu Yuan very clearly. Yu Yuan may not be able to establish a relationship between the Silver Moon Empire and the Red Devil School. But the Duan family can. If he hadn't heard the conversation between Liu Chan and Yu Yuan, he wouldn't have dared to act so recklessly. It was because he knew that Liu Chan and the Empress of the Silver Moon Empire wanted to establish a relationship with the Red Devil School that he made this decision." "What did you say?" Liu Chan said coldly. "The Red Devil School and the Primal Yang sect are mortal enemies." Duan Guanlan grew calmer. "And the Duan family belongs to the Red Devil School. I can promise you that as long as you don't do anything, the Duan family can arrange for Lord Fang Yao of the Red Devil School to meet your sister, the Empress of the Silver Moon Empire. The Duan family's goal is the same as the Silver Moon Empire's, so we can form an alliance. As for those cultivators from the Qiyang Empire who were killed earlier, they all deserve to die. This Yu Yuan has a unique mark in his body. That mark secretly resonated with the restrictions of this world. I want to use the gilded devil soul talisman to seize the imprint in his body. I hope General Li won't interfere." Duan Guanlan threw out the benefits and stated his intentions. Liu Chan, who was about to attack immediately, was suddenly stunned by his words. In the air above, Qin Yun of the Seven Divinities sect looked at the dazed Yu Yuan, not knowing what to do. Duan Tianxi, who was sitting on top of the Crimson Bell, stared at Qin Lai with a warning look and said, "Sect Master Qin, if I'm not mistaken, you seem to be suppressed by Yu Yuan, right?" Qin Yun smiled bitterly and nodded. "Don't worry, Guanlan can use the gilded gold devil soul talisman to remove the unique mark in that brat's body." Duan Tianxi laughed softly and said, "Also, he might have some connection with the Red Devil School, so we won't go too far. He will live, and we will figure out the relationship between his sect and the Red Devil School. Sect Master Qin, when I obtain those marks, I will give you an explanation," Duan Guanlan said. "If this world was protected by an unprecedented, wondrous formation as the Imperial Tutor had guessed, then, the mark in Yu Yuan's body that Duan Guanlan had sensed with the gilded gold devil soul talisman was the key to controlling this wondrous formation. What Duan Guanlan wanted to do was the same as what Qin Yun had wanted to do. He would be the one in control of the grand formation. Regardless of the sect behind Yu Yuan or the deep relationship between it and the Red Devil School, Duan Guanlan was willing to take the risk in the face of such benefits. Or, he could eliminate everyone so that no one would be able to find out. Or, he could leave Yu Yuan alive and find out the truth. He was determined to obtain that unique mark. It had to be in his hands. The Red Devil School. Does the Duan family really have such authority over the Red Devil School? Liu Chan was hesitant, her expression complicated. The Duan family is clearly in the Scarlet Sun Empire. How did it survive for so long? In the future, when we become grasshoppers on the same line, I will tell you the truth, Duan Guanlan said with a smile. Liu Chan remained silent. With the protection of the gilded gold Devil Soul Talisman, she could not use that strange soul art to kill Duan Guanlan. The ancient Moon Devil had done the same earlier. She knew what had happened. In the sky, Duan Tianxi was on guard against Qin Yun and her. In this situation, even if she wanted to save Yu Yuan, she had little chance of success. Moreover, the other party was the Red Devil School. Furthermore, he promised that he would arrange for Lord Fang Yao of the Red Devil School to meet with the Silver Moon Empire. How should she choose? Yu Yuan, oh Yu Yuan, it's not that I don't want to help, it's just that… Liu Chan sighed inwardly and remained silent. She did not act rashly. Duan Guanlan's smile became even brighter. Generally, don't worry. The Duan family will guarantee that the Red Devil School and the Silver Moon Empire will maintain a good relationship. You've heard that Yuan Qiufang of Dark Moon City is also a member of the Red Devil School. Liu Chan felt that she had let Yu Yuan down. She did not reply to his promise. The gilded gold Devil Soul Talisman. Yu Yuan's mind rumbled. Thoughts appeared in his mind and were quickly extinguished. His constantly improving Selim soul seemed to be the breakthrough point of the gilded gold Devil Soul Talisman. It was forcefully connected to the world of flames formed by the talisman. His Selim soul seemed to fall into the world of the gilded gold Devil Soul Talisman and appear in the sacred land of the Red Devil School. He was revisiting an old place. The sky of burning clouds, the winding rivers of fire, the majestic buildings, and the many spirit birds and beasts of fire. It was the same as when he had stepped into the Red Devil School several times in the past and was solemnly led into the sacred land of the Red Devil School. When his Selim soul entered, the sacred land of flames formed by the gilded gold Devil Soul Talisman seemed to join forces to pressure him. The burning sky sank. The rivers of fire seemed to turn into flaming whips that lashed at his Selim soul. At the same time, his human and earthly souls in his main body acutely sensed that a suction force from the gilded gold Devil Soul Talisman was seeping into the sword energy in his arm bone. His Selim soul was now in the inner world of the gilded gold Devil Soul Talisman. The sword intent and sword soul inside the sword energy mistakenly thought that it was him who was sucking it in. Because at the center of the gilded gold Devil Soul Talisman, his Selim soul's will and presence were deliberately magnified. Thus, there were actually bits of sword light that were pulled out. His arm bone and 9 bits of sword energy suddenly flew out. Duan Guanlan, Liu Chan, Qin Yun, and Duan Tianxi all saw it clearly. They saw the 9 bits of strange light shining from Yu Yuan's elbow and rushing towards Duan Guanlan's eyes. They even saw a shadow wandering in the unusually obvious world of flames. That shadow was Yu Yuan's Selim soul. Overjoyed, Duan Guanlan shouted, "It worked!" Duan Tianxi was also excited. He thought to himself, no matter who Yu Yuan's master is, or what his relationship with the Red Devil School is, the restriction that controls this world must be in the hands of the Red Devil School. He admired Duan Guanlan very much. He felt that this junior of his clan was indeed a top figure. Whoosh! The 9 bits of strange light flew into the world of flames formed by the gilded gold Devil Soul Talisman's talisman incomparably smoothly. The shadow formed by Yu Yuan's Selim soul quietly moved and joined the 9 bits of strange light. The 9 bits of strange light lined up in a straight line, forming an illusory sword blade made of light. The shadow formed by Yu Yuan's Selim soul grasped the sword blade formed by the 9 bits of strange light in the illusory world of flames formed by the gilded gold devil soul talisman. The moment the Selim soul grasped the sword, a thought rumbled in the world of flames. Duan Guanlan, you've made a terrible mistake by leading my Selim soul into the world of the gilded gold devil soul talisman. The sword slashed down. The world of flames formed by the gilded gold devil soul talisman was cut apart by the sword light as if it were a butcher dismembering an ox. The most basic and core spiritual patterns of heaven and earth were cut apart by the sword light. The sword light slashed through the air and cut open the hidden veins that formed the burning sky with incomparable precision. The sword light slashed again, and the enormous stone pillars that supported the most magnificent and towering crimson palace suddenly broke without a sound. The river of flames that was like a flaming whip was reduced to numerous streams of fire under the thread-like sword light. All of a sudden, the world of flames disintegrated. Blood suddenly seeped out of the skin under the gilded gold devil soul talisman between Duan Guanlan's eyebrows. Chapter 172. No matter how much Duan Guanlan calculated, he would never have guessed that the Medicine God sect also had a part to play in refining the 7 gilded demon soul talismans of the Crimson Fiend sect. Yu Yuan's master, the sect master of the Medicine God sect, had also participated in the making of the Gilt Devil Soul talismans. Yu Yuan had been there at the time. After the incident, his master had described the many mysteries of the Gilt Devil Soul talismans to him in detail, as well as the mysterious connection between them and the sacred ground of the Red Devil School. His master had even taken out the spirit patterns imprinted on the 7 Gilt Devil Soul talismans to test Yu Yuan. This was because when one reached a certain level in the art of alchemy, one would also need to understand the principles of heaven and earth. At the same time, one had to know how to inscribe spirit patterns and how to maximize the medicinal effects in a pill cauldron. The fact that Yu Yuan could mention the origin of the Gilt Devil Soul talismans meant that he knew the many subtle mysteries of the Red Devil School's magical talismans. Duan Guanlan's decision to pull his soul into the world of flames inside the Gilt Devil Soul talismans had backfired. The biggest mistake was that Duan Guanlan had also absorbed the sword lights into the world of flames inside the talismans. The 9 sword lights turned into an ancient divine sword that was controlled by Yu Yuan's soul. In the illusory world created by the Gilt Devil Soul talismans, it was as if he had been handed a butcher's knife. Following the internal structure of the gilded gold Devil Soul talisman and the structure of the spirit pattern diagram, Yu Yuan casually drew and shattered this part of the world. What he had broken was the core of the Gilt Devil Soul talismans, the essence of talismans. As he swung his sword, the world of red flames looked like it was the end of the world. The tiles and bricks of the magnificent palaces began to peel off one by one. As the palaces collapsed, many fiery holes appeared in the sky that was set ablaze. On the ground, the meandering rivers of flames gradually dried up. The entire world of flames inside the Gilt Devil Soul talismans was collapsing, heading toward the most terrifying state. Duan Guanlan, who had pressed the talisman tightly between his eyebrows, first bled from his forehead. Then his eyes, nostrils, and ears. The blood didn't stop flowing. There was no longer a smile on Duan Guanlan's face. His expression was indescribably strange. It was a mixture of shock, fear, despair, and confusion. It was an extremely strange expression. How is this possible? How is this possible? He muttered as if he had lost his soul, as if he couldn't feel the existence of the Gilt Devil Soul talismans anymore. Before he reached the nuance realm, he had already started cultivating the Red Soul demonic art. and condensed wisps of soul consciousness. What he wanted was to use his spiritual sense to control the gilt gold devil soul talisman so that he could activate it and protect himself. Normally speaking, only was realm could condense the soul talisman's realm. Could sense was sense, like tentacles without eyes. Could talisman had talismans? It? In God he's talismans. He. For example, hitting the ancient lunar devil. For example, pulling out Yu Yuan's heavenly soul and stripping off the sword light that had been branded on Yu Yuan's arm. 7 gilt devil soul talismans. I wonder how many of them are left in the Red Devil School. Suddenly, Yu Yuan's true body spoke. He looked at Duan Guanlan, who seemed to have lost his soul, with a mocking expression. I'm sorry, but I have to destroy this gilt devil soul talisman. As soon as he said this, the illusory world of flames in front of Duan Guanlan burned fiercely. 9 specks of light, wrapped in a dark shadow, suddenly appeared. The dark shadow entered Yu Yuan's forehead, and the 9 strange lights disappeared into his arm. He grinned and watched the world of flames engraved with fire threads burn out right under Duan Guanlan's eyes. The talisman that Duan Guanlan had stuck between his eyebrows turned into a blank talisman paper. Duan Guanlan's face was covered in blood. He sat down on the ground, no longer as high-spirited as before. On the other hand, Yu Yuan's eyes were bright and full of energy, as if he hadn't been injured at all. Sisterly, I'll remember your silence at the critical moment. He smiled as if he wasn't angry at all and nodded at Liu Chan. The Duan family and the Red Devil School are close friends. In your eyes, the Duan family can bring greater benefits to the Silver Moon Empire, right? Liu Chan woke up from her shock and looked at Yu Yuan, not knowing what to do. Sect Master Qin. Yu Yuan looked up at the sect master of the 7 divine sects and said, I'm glad that you didn't hit me when I was down. Qin Yun smiled bitterly and landed beside Duan Tianxi in the soul pool. He stopped in front of Yu Yuan and said, Little brother Yu, I'm from the Scarlet Sun Empire after all. Well, don't blame me for not being willing to fight. It's because I'm not that person's match. He pointed at Duan Tianxi. Yu Yuan's expression was cold as he snorted softly. General Li is also helpless, Qin Yun explained. Duan Guanlan has the protection of the gilded gold devil soul talisman. We saw what happened to the ancient lunar demon with our own eyes. What can we do? We can't break the gilded gold devil soul talisman and save you. With the Duan brothers secretly watching over you, there's really nothing we can do. After a moment of silence, Liu Chan suddenly said, Yu Yuan, I admit that I'm at fault. There's no need to say anything else. Yu Yuan waved his hand and sat down silently in front of Duan Guanlan in a corner of the soul pool. Qin Yun and Liu Chan exchanged looks. In the sky, Duan Tianxi's Yin spirit, who appeared as a fire god, sat on the crimson bell. He looked down at Yu Yuan with an extremely complicated gaze. Kid, you destroyed a gilded gold devil soul talisman. Yu Yuan glanced at him and smiled. So what? Since you know the origins of the gilded gold devil soul talisman and how precious it is, you still dared to destroy it. Duan Tianxi was furious. No matter what relationship you have with the Red Devil School, no matter which sect you are from, you won't be able to answer for destroying a gilded gold devil soul talisman. Answer? Answer to who? Yu Yuan laughed involuntarily. Senior Duan, don't flatter yourself. You 2 brothers aren't worthy of an answer from me. Kid, I really don't understand where you get the right to be so arrogant. Duan Tianxi laughed instead of being angry. But in the next moment, his laughter came to an abrupt stop. He suddenly felt an extremely inappropriate sense of danger. Because Yu Yuan, who was sitting in the soul pool, suddenly raised his left hand and pointed at him. He said coldly, You're standing a little high. I'm tired of looking up. Come down. A vast, and ancient sword intent suddenly formed in Yu Yuan's left hand. Heaven and earth seemed to respond to it. Ancient sword intent and sword light that were hidden in the cracks in the ground around the soul pool morphed into multicolored light that shot into the sky. It was as if a dazzling meteor had shot out of the ground and into the sky. Duan Tianxi, who practiced the flame cloud incantation, suddenly had a hole in his Yin divinity that looked like a god of fire. The crimson bell he was sitting on gave off sparks with loud clangs. After Duan Tianxi's Yin divinity returned, he landed on the ground outside the soul pool with the crimson bell. Standing at the bottom of the soul pool, Li Yu, Qin Yun, and Duan Guanlan looked at him with astonishment. "No one is welcome here. Please leave." Yu Yuan's tone was cold as he looked at the three of them with an unquestionable gaze. Duan Guanlan, who was seriously injured, had lost his mind and spirit. Upon hearing this, he struggled to leave the soul pool, despite his injuries. "Brother Yu?" Qin Yun begged with a pitiful expression. "Farewell," Yu Yuan said indifferently. "I won't see you off." Qin Yun sighed and flew out of the soul pool helplessly. Only the female general of the Silver Moon Empire was left. She frowned and said, "Yu Yuan, you are still a member of the Silver Moon Empire. Even if I was wrong, get out." Yu Yuan shouted coldly. "Yu Yuan, how dare you speak to me like that?" Liu Chan was furious. She did feel that she was in the wrong, but in the previous situation, with Duan Guanlan, who was protected by the Guilt Devil Soul Talisman, and Duan Tianxi, there was nothing she could do. If she forced herself to attack, not only would she return empty-handed, she would also be seriously injured. Instead of that, she might as well establish a good relationship with the Duan family and the Red Devil School. She believed that she had no choice but to serve the Empire in the best way. However, Yu Yuan didn't seem to understand. "I'll say it again. Please get out." Chapter 173. There were many sword marks on the walls of the soul refining pool. Inside, there was an inky light that looked like flowing water. A mysterious change was quietly happening. The bottom of the dried soul refining pool seemed to be filled with soul energy. The soul energy was extremely shallow at first, almost impossible to detect. However, anyone with subtle realm cultivation and spirit sense could acutely sense the changes at the bottom of the pool. Liu Chan, who had been reprimanded by Yu Yuan without giving him any face, looked down at his feet in shock, then back at Yu Yuan. At this moment, she finally understood where Yu Yuan's confidence came from. The soul refining pool was once again filled with soul energy. The divine soul sect's unprecedented heaven-sealing soul refining formation, which could seal this part of the world, was about to be activated once more. And Yu Yuan had obtained the Sword Soul's acknowledgement and could control the restrictions of this world. Even the heavenly demon Green Nightmare, the earth demon White Ghoul, and Emperor Hantian were afraid of the restrictions of this world. Let alone the others present. Yu Yuan, I really had no choice. Liu Chan came to her senses and quickly admitted defeat. As she flew out of the soul refining pool, she didn't forget to explain, "If there's a chance to save you, I won't sit by and do nothing. Also, the Duan family said that they won't take your life because of your relationship with the Red Devil School." Yu Yuan turned a deaf ear. "Forget it. I only hope that you can understand my difficulties." Liu Chan's figure left the soul refining pool and said again, "Since you're here, I'll go find Liu. I'll take care of your sister Yu Feifei, Zhao Yafu, and the others in Dark Moon City." She flew away. She already knew that Yu Yuan had a grudge against her. Forcing him to stay would only make both sides unhappy. When the restrictions of this world reappeared, Yu Yuan, who was in the soul refining pool, would have the help of a god. Whether it was the Duan brothers, Qin Yun, or the variant soul great demons, none of them would be able to do anything to him. The soul refining pool would soon become a bloody battlefield in the fallen moon forbidden land. and Yu Yuan was bound to be the main character. "Uncle Tianxi, how are you?" Duan Guanlan said to Duan Tianxi as he wiped the blood off his face and staggered to the ground where the crimson bell was. Sparks were still sputtering from the surface of the crimson bell. Strands of sharp ancient sword intent were tearing at the power within. The fiery clouds were extinguished like stars. Sitting next to the crimson bell, Duan Tianxi's eyelids trembled as he stared at the bell with a pained expression. "We've suffered a great loss this time," he said with a tearful expression on his face. The streaks of sword light and sword intent that tore through the earth far surpassed those of the Scarlet Sun Empire cultivators who had been killed earlier. Every sword beam that had been hidden in the Forbidden Land was filled with different mysteries of the way of the sword. They seemed to have a mind of their own as they swam around the bell and destroyed the spirit diagrams inside. The bell was not made by Duan Tianxi. It was a relic of the fiery cloud fiery demon. Of course, it wasn't the 2 or 3 that the fiery cloud fiery demon had possessed before he had died. Those had long since become the Red Devil School's most precious treasures, and had been sealed away. The bell was a spiritual tool that the fiery cloud fiery demon had asked someone to forge for him when he had been at the Soul Wander stage. After he had broken through to the Yang God stage, the bell had become useless to him, so he had hidden it in a secret place and left it for the descendants of the Duan clan. After a lot of twists and turns, it had finally fallen into Duan Tianxi's hands. This bell was one of the most precious Earth-grade spiritual tools in the Qian continent. However, facing the tearing of the sword intent from the earth, the spirit diagrams engraved inside of the bell were destroyed piece by piece. The bell's grade was bound to drop. Meanwhile, Duan Tianxi, the flame god's Yin divinity, had been pierced through by the sword light and suffered a great loss. Even though he was only at the Yin god stage, the fact that he hadn't been killed by such a fierce sword intent in the forbidden land of the fallen moons was all thanks to the bell and the profound incantations of the firecloud flame devils that he practiced. "Who on earth is that Yu Yuan?" Duan Guanlan was scared out of his wits because of the destruction of the Gilt Devil Soul Talisman. Even that ancient moon devil was severely injured by the talisman and almost died. That talisman seemed to have some sort of connection with our sect's sacred land. Yu Yuan was only at the spirit nurturing stage, and there was nothing special about him back then. How could he have destroyed the Gilt Devil Soul Talisman? He couldn't figure it out no matter how hard he tried. Duan Tianxi let out a sigh, looking very frustrated. Lord Grand Preceptor's plan failed. Even he didn't expect that Yu Yuan would appear in the Fallen Moon Forbidden Land. Those fellow Taoists from the Scarlet Sun Empire we killed were the ones who secretly investigated our Duan clan, and guessed that we had connections to our sect. Before they came, Lord Grand Preceptor had already tampered with the jade medallion he gave us, so it would be easy to keep them in check. Who would have thought that it would be so easy to get rid of them, and that Qin Yun wouldn't be a threat to us, and that Li Yuchan would be convinced by Yu Yuan? The two of them didn't try to hide their conversation from Qin Yun. Qin Yun, the sect master of the 7 divine sects, stood at the edge of the soul refining pool and looked down. He sensed with his Yin soul, and discovered that black soul power was flowing out of the sword marks on the walls of the pool and pouring into the soul refining pool. Yu Yuan, who was sitting in a corner of the soul refining pool, seemed to be refining his heavenly soul as he waited for the grand spell formation to complete. The sword intent and sword light hidden in the ground around him seemed to have just been activated. In the sky, the thunder and lightning in the depths of the clouds hadn't formed yet. The sky was still clear, and hadn't been blocked by the sealing heaven soul refining formation, making it impossible for this part of the world to see the sun. Qin Yun couldn't help but glance at Duan Tianxi and Duan Guanlan. I didn't expect that Lord Grand Preceptor would still support the Duan clan even though he knew about the relationship between the Red Devil School and the Duan clan. Lord Grand Preceptor. As soon as his thoughts reached this point, He felt as if someone was looking at him from the unseen world. Qin Yun suddenly looked up. Then, he saw that clusters of thick clouds seemed to be floating over their heads from a certain direction. He also suddenly remembered the obstruction he had encountered not long ago when he had rushed into the sky with a wisp of his soul awareness. Lord Grand Preceptor! After a flash of inspiration, Qin Yun suddenly realized what was going on. His face was filled with shock. Sectmaster Qin, you've finally understood. Only at this moment did Duan Tianxi shift his gaze from the large bell to Qin Yun. Lord Grand Preceptor has been watching our battle from the sky this entire time. You should know that the Grand Preceptor is on our side, so we have nothing to fear. I see. Qin Yun's face was filled with bitterness. After the thick clouds floated over, they seemed to be sinking. A sudden clap of thunder rang out in the depths of the sky. Immediately afterwards, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled over everyone's heads. Thick, long lightning bolts that looked like winding dragons seemed to have descended from the starry river and were attracted by some pool of lightning in the starry river. As soon as the lightning bolts appeared, countless strange lines appeared in the void and condensed. It was as if a manhole had been added to the sky, and thick clouds formed in a bizarre manner. The cluster of clouds that the Scarlet Sun Empire's Grand Preceptor was on was about to sink, and after a moment of shock, it suddenly flew into the air. It was as if it didn't dare to enter the forbidden land of the falling moon and be enveloped by the sealing heaven soul refining formation. Chapter 174. Zhou Tsangmin's Yin spirit was dressed in a white robe. He looked refined and refined. The thick white clouds seemed to be an extension of his clothes. They surrounded him, making him look like an immortal. The clouds parted beneath his feet, allowing him to clearly see the changes in the sky below. Dense thunderbolts and lightning interweaved into a sea that was covered by the clouds. Some of the lightning bolts that came from the outer realms were as thin as hair, while others were as thick as a waterfall. They were dazzling and contained the terrifying might of lightning. Yin souls didn't have physical bodies. They were only condensed soul awareness and soul energy. Even if he had reached the soul wander realm, he would be instantly injured if he dared to take the risk with his Yin soul. In this part of the world, the heaven-sealing soul dissipation formation that suppressed many evil spirits and demons mainly targeted soul spirit. Lightning was the bane of all souls that didn't have physical bodies. The heavenly demon Azure Nightmare, the White Ghoul, and the heaven-shaking Emperor had been suppressed and didn't dare to show themselves. Even such ancient existences were afraid, let alone Zhou Tsangmin. At this moment, he felt somewhat lucky. He felt lucky that he hadn't rashly gone in. The ancient formation that sealed heaven and earth has been activated again, he said softly. That youth from Dark Moon City of the Silver Moon Empire is the key to the formation. Duan Guanlan's actions weren't wrong, but why was that youth able to break out of the gilded gold Devil Soul Talisman? As the grand formation activated again, even someone as powerful as Zhou Tsangmin couldn't see the world below. He couldn't use the Jade Token to communicate with Duan Tianhong and give him orders. Finally, before the grand formation completely closed, he used his soul awareness to observe Qin Yun and let him know of his existence and identity. He hoped that Qin Yun would stand by the Duan brothers' side at this critical moment. Even if I can't see it, the Empress of the Silver Moon Empire won't be able to see it. As long as we can stop a few waves of the deviant souls swarming toward the pool, many problems will be solved. I hope the Duan brothers can hold on. With that in mind, Zhou Tsangmin's thoughts flickered as he secretly cast a spell to communicate with the Silver Moon Empress. Hua hua hua. A blue river flowed through the ravine that had been torn apart by the soul-refining pool. That stream seemed to be full of vitality, full of greenery. However, if one looked carefully, they would discover that the green stream was floating in the air within the ravine. Qi. Just as the blue river was about to approach the soul-transforming pool, it was suddenly split in two by a beam of blazing sword intent. Light and shadow changed, and the stream and river merged into one, turning into a green-robed boy. Standing beside the soul-refining pool, Qin Yun's expression flickered as he stared at Nye Tian. The battle between Duan Tianhong and the ghost ape was still ongoing, and the victor had yet to be decided. The green-clothed boy had appeared strangely without any warning. He should have been with the ghost ape and had come from outside the Forbidden Land. The 4 azure sun arrows were immediately aimed at the azure-clothed boy. "Sir, don't act recklessly," Qin Yun lightly shouted. Just a moment ago, his attention was still on the sky. He wanted to split a strand of his soul to ask the imperial tutor what he wanted to do. However, before he had the time to do so, he suddenly felt that things had changed. The clear sky had been replaced by gray clouds. Lightning flashed in the depths of the gray clouds, and the surrounding cracks in the earth seemed to be whistling like sharp blades. This meant that the ancient formation that had sealed the fallen moon Forbidden Land had come into effect again, causing the sky and earth to change in an instant. Qin Yun wasn't stupid. He immediately understood that the imperial tutor's final decision was not to take the risk. Not to enter the Forbidden Land. Zhou Tsangmin hadn't come, and after the Forbidden Land had been sealed, the grand cultivators of the Scarlet Sun Empire and the Silver Moon Empire had to work together to kill the Shade's sole great demons. However, many of the cultivators of the Scarlet Sun Empire had been killed by the Duan brothers and the imperial tutor. Duan Tianxi, who was already terrifyingly powerful, had been severely injured by Yu Yuan's restriction. Now, he was whispering to Duan Guanlan, as if he didn't want to participate in the battle again. The ghost ape's strength had skyrocketed after receiving the infusion of flesh and blood. It was now on par with Duan Tianhong alone. Liu Chan had been chased away by Yu Yuan. Now that the azure-robed boy had appeared out of nowhere, it seemed that he had no choice but to deal with him. "I won't do anything rash. Don't do anything rash." The azure-robed boy smiled and waved at him. He even winked at him and said, "Wait a little longer. Wait a little longer before you decide whether you want to attack me or not." Qin Yun was taken aback. However, he soon understood what the azure-robed boy meant. Numerous gloomy soul shadows, some with green faces and fangs, some with black wings under their armpits, some as tall as a mountain, some as small as a fly, and some as strange as a myriad of insects, surged in clusters. They were actually numerous shades soul evil spirit. Qin Yun's nether divinity, which was in the form of the old man in Confucian robes, quietly appeared and rose into the sky like a balloon. With a single glance, he discovered that hundreds of shades soul evil spirits were deliberately avoiding the battle between Duan Tianhong and the ghost ape. These shades soul evil spirits were souls without fleshly bodies. Most of them didn't have enough soul power. However, they were still stronger than the souls that had been summoned by the heavenly demon Azure Nightmare and sucked into the bronze steel to become nutrients for the steel's inscriptions. What surprised Qin Yun the most was that the Shade's soul evil spirits that had gathered at this moment all had intelligence and spirituality. They weren't muddle-headed. There was a world of difference between those that had intelligence and spirituality and the Shade's soul evil spirits that had no thoughts and only had their instincts when they were alive. Below the Shade's soul evil spirits, there was a bare, leafless ancient tree half a meter above the ground. It floated in the air. The leafless branches were like flexible, and slender hands that pulled in all directions. From time to time, a weak outsider's soul would be sucked into the tree trunk like a sponge absorbing water. A dark light flashed inside the branches of the ancient tree. The Shade's soul that was sucked in was guided to the root. The ancient tree that was more than 10 meters tall was a little dry and cracked. However, after absorbing the Shade's soul evil spirits, it seemed to be rejuvenated and showed signs of sprouting leaves again. A shade soul with the head of a human and the body of a dragon was floating on the other side of the ancient tree. It was clearly illusory, but its dragon body was shining with golden light. It had the appearance of a middle-aged man with a bun on his head. It had 4 arms, each of which was covered in dragon scales. Its body was nearly 30 meters long. As it swayed gently in the air, the chaotic spiritual chi of heaven and earth in the air miraculously calmed down. No other shade soul evil spirits dared to approach this shade soul evil spirit. It slowly came to a stop beside the azure-robed boy and leaned forward to take a look at Yu Yuan, who was in the soul-refining pool. Frowning, it didn't say a word. As for Qin Yun, it didn't care at all. Another ball of blood-colored light that carried a pungent smell of blood quietly appeared beside the azure-robed boy and the middle-aged man with the head of a human and the body of a dragon. The blood-colored light was in the shape of a human. Its true appearance couldn't be seen, as if it were desperately trying to carve out a face. Unfortunately, it couldn't do it. The ball of blood-colored light seemed to be a mixture of violent flesh aura and frenzied spiritual power. The soul awareness that occasionally emerged from it was filled with a brutality that could destroy all life. It was as if it existed to destroy everything, including any flesh and soul. The azure-robed boy, the bizarre ancient tree, the human-headed, dragon-bodied shade soul evil spirit, and the ball of brutal blood-colored light. These 4 were clearly the strongest among the hundreds of thousands of shades soul evil spirit. At least, that was the case for now. Qin Yun couldn't help but smile bitterly as the shade's soul evil spirits and the blue sun arrow, which had been aimed at the azure-robed boy, revealed themselves and swarmed towards him. He turned his head to look at Duan Tianxi and Duan Guanlan and said, "Don't just stand there and do nothing. Slow down, slow down." The azure-robed boy waved his hand and smiled wholeheartedly. "There's no need to rush. Let's wait a little longer. The grand cultivators from the Silver Moon Empire are already on their way. They'll be here soon. Wait for them to arrive. You can go together." Chapter 175. On the other side of the Soul Pool. Liu Chan and the juniors of the Silver Moon Empire gathered again and looked at the distant sky with them. "Aunt," Liu wanted to say something but stopped. He wanted to ask what had happened at the Soul Pool. But Liu Chan's expression seemed to be depressed. "Lordly." Zhang Tianxiang couldn't hold it in any longer. With a dark face, he shouted, "The Duan brothers of the Crimson Sun Empire have started a massacre on their own people. They clearly don't want anyone to know about their relationship with the Crimson Fiend sect. Why did you abandon Yu Yuan and come here alone?" Su Yan also said, "Was Yu Yuan captured alive?" Zhao Yafu, Yu Feifei, and the others from Dark Moon City were full of suspicion. "Generally, you should explain some things clearly." Even Yen Lu of the Empire's Yen family agreed, and wanted Liu Chan to give an explanation. Liu Chan, who had always been cruel and bloody, felt a trace of bitterness in her heart when faced with the doubts of the juniors. When Yu Yuan was targeted by Duan Guanlan with the gilded Devil Soul Talisman and tried to strip his sword soul, she hadn't been able to stand firmly by Yu Yuan's side. That alone was a great mistake. In the end, Yu Yuan used his own strength and the suppression of the restrictions to first destroy the Red Devil School's treasure, the gilded Devil Soul Talisman, and then heavily injured Duan Tianxi to avert danger. And she hadn't been of any help at all, or when she thought of this, she was full of guilt and unease. She knew that she was guilty to Yu Yuan. Because of this, she didn't have the courage to scold or quibble when faced with the doubts of the juniors of the Empire. All of a sudden, she realized a fact. After this trial in the Fallen Moon Forbidden Land, Yu Yuan, who was unknown in Dark Moon City, had proven his strength and won the trust and respect of all his peers, including Li Yu. Now, the remaining trial takers were the future of the Empire, the elites of the elite. These people seemed to be closer to Yu Yuan and trusted him more. Not her, Liu Chan. This fact made her feel unusually awkward, but she was also helpless. Look! Su Yen, who was floating in the air with her divine feather heavenly robe, suddenly cried out in surprise. Her attention was always on the soul-dissolving pool. After hearing her exclamation, everyone followed her gaze and looked in the direction of the soul-transforming pool. They saw clusters of ghouls and evil spirits around the soul-transforming pool and sensed terrifying, brutal auras from them. All of the outsider grand demons that Lin Zhuyun had seen before are now gathered in that pond. Li Yu summoned the sacrificial soul orb, cut his finger, and dripped 3 drops of blood onto the sacrificial soul orb, turning the mysterious object into an eye for a short period of time. Beside the soul-refining pool, the green-clothed boy, the giant tree, the middle-aged man with a human head and a dragon's body, and the bloody light with a chaotic aura were all reflected by the soul-refining orb. Those who were close to him saw it clearly. Inside the soul sacrifice sphere, the middle-aged man with a human head and a dragon body seemed to have sensed that someone was spying on him. He looked over coldly from inside the soul sacrifice sphere. His eyes seemed to be able to see everyone through the soul sacrifice sphere. That pair of brown eyes, in that instant, actually looked like a deep pool where numerous evil dragons were hibernating, giving off an extremely dangerous feeling. Everyone who was looking inside the soul sacrifice sphere felt as though they were hit hard. Everyone, including Li Yu, felt a stabbing pain in their heads. They did not dare to keep looking at the soul sacrifice sphere. Only Zhao Yafu grunted. Suddenly, a dragon's roar came from her acupuncture points. Once the dragon's roar came, Zhao Yafu was no longer affected. She looked at the soul sacrifice sphere with a strange nostalgic look, as though she was recalling the past. Inside the soul sacrifice sphere, the middle-aged man with a human head and a dragon body suddenly sensed something. He hesitated slightly and then left the soul-transforming pool. His dragon tail swayed as he headed over. Go! Retreat! Liu Chan's expression changed abruptly as he shouted for everyone to quickly leave. Zhao Yafu stilled for a moment and then ignored her shouts. She turned into a red cloud and flew towards the middle-aged man with a human head and a dragon body. She met up with him. An unusually obvious dragon aura came out of Zhao Yafu's body. The dragon aura seemed to form an ancient dragon that roared and intimidated the world. Auntie, that person is not coming for us. Li Yu stilled and said, We don't seem to have the right to move him away from the soul-transforming pool. Everyone else could see that the man with a human head and a dragon body had come for Zhao Yafu. That person was only in the form of a soul and did not have a physical body. But the aura released from his soul caused everyone's hearts to beat strangely as though they would explode. Generally, do you want to go take care of her? Yu Feifei was a little anxious. Her realm is not high enough. Was she bewitched by that person and went over? Liu Chan sighed softly. I was seriously injured at the soul-transforming pool. And that person with a human head and a dragon body is much stronger than I was at my peak, so... She was forced to admit her powerlessness. Zhao Yafu should be fine. Su Yen, who was wearing the divine feather heavenly robe, stopped in midair and gazed at the large man with a human head and dragon body. She said softly, When that person came for Zhao Yafu, he was full of joy and had no killing intent. Upon hearing these words, everyone frowned and fell into deep thought. Meanwhile, Yu Yuan, who was sitting in a corner of the soul-transforming pool and sensing the rich black soul power at the bottom, opened his eyes. When the middle-aged man with a human head and a dragon body approached Zhao Yafu, he became vigilant. Meanwhile, his sword soul, which had been immersed in his arm bone for a long time, was awakened from the bits of sword light and regained its consciousness. It seemed to sense his worry, and took the initiative to send him a wisp of soul message. He was instantly relieved. That middle-aged man with a human head and a dragon body might be his enemy and want to kill him, but he wouldn't do anything to Zhao Yafu. To Zhao Yafu, that man was her source of fortune and protector in the falling moon forbidden land. The azure-robed boy smiled as he fixed his clear eyes on Qin Lai. You're awake, young man. What's your name? Did you kill the moon devil and the other moon devil in there? The giant tree and the cluster of blood-colored light on his left and right both seemed to be staring at Yu Yuan. Instead of relying on their eyes, they seemed to be locking onto him with some kind of obscure soul awareness. Duan Tianxi and Duan Guanlan walked away helplessly behind him. They also looked down at Yu Yuan, who was sitting by himself at the bottom of the soul-transforming pool. Are you waiting for the cultivators from the Silver Moon Empire? Yu Yuan looked up at the azure-robed boy and tried to communicate with his sword soul with his heavenly soul. His eyes flickered slightly as he said, I think your name is Sia. You used to be one of the top 10 outsider soul cultivators in the Forbidden Land of the Falling Moon Forbidden Land. You were severely injured by Grand Emperor Heaven Shaking, and a part of your soul was refined by him. After that, you went into hiding. Later, you seem to have been taken out of the Forbidden Land of the Falling Moon Forbidden Land. Sia seems to be an earth devil born in a strange place on the Heavenly Source continent. He pointed at the azure-robed boy as he sensed the disorderly and intermittent soul thoughts transmitted by the sword soul. Then, he explained Sia's origin and past. Like the white ghoul, Sia was also an earth devil from the Howran Heaven and Earth Devil. Sia had been born in a strange marshland on the Heavenly Source continent. No one knew if it was because of the great changes in heaven and earth, or if it had been accumulating power for thousands of years, but Sia had suddenly gained intelligence and devoured living beings to strengthen herself. Eventually, she had become an earth devil. Sia had been captured by the Shunhun sect and sealed here. The Shunhun sect had secretly raised her and had tried to refine her, but had failed. Chapter 176. In the Forbidden Land of the Fallen Moons, the Earth Devil had broken free several times and devoured living beings to strengthen himself. This Earth Devil, who had been born in the Heavenly Source continent and given the Primal Yang sect and the Xuantianzong sect a headache, had been restless even after being imprisoned by the Shunhun sect. Later, he had even sought out Emperor Heaven Shaking. He had wanted to use Emperor Heaven Shaking to completely break free of the Forbidden Land's suppression. As a result, part of his soul had been refined by the cunning Grand Monarch Heaven Shaking. After that, Emperor Heaven Shaking had been unable to recover from the setback, and had remained dormant for a long time. Many years later, a trial taker from the outside world had broken free of the seal by chance, and Emperor Heaven Shaking had secretly escaped from the Forbidden Land. However, Emperor Heaven Shaking had only managed to escape with part of his soul awareness, not all of it. The other part of his soul had probably been sealed as well, but after returning from the outside world, he had taken advantage of the lapse of the restrictive spell to merge with his soul a second time. Many of her seemingly scattered thoughts were gradually organized by Yu Yuan, and her thoughts gradually became clearer. Lord Emperor Heaven Shaking, your old self was very weak when you escaped. Yu Yuan looked at the azure-robed boy and said with a smile, if your soul awareness is too strong, it will be sensed by the sealing heaven soul transforming formation, so you can only separate a part of it. After many years of accumulation, your old self in the outside world has become slightly stronger, but you still need to return to your true self. You must have merged with your true self on your way here. That's why you're not afraid of the pursuers from the Silver Moon Empire. Is that so? Yu Yuan asked in a loud voice. Emperor Heaven Shaking nodded with a warm smile. Good, good. It seems that you're indeed extraordinary, little brother. Not only me, but he and I have also recovered most of their strength on their way here. With these words, he turned his head to look in the direction of the ghost ape. The 6th-grade ghost ape had suddenly received copious amounts of flesh power when it had approached the soul-transforming lake. its battle prowess had instantly soared, and it had been evenly matched with Duan Tianhong. No matter what, no matter who had taken them out of the Forbidden Land, they would have to pay a price. They could only leave partially. Otherwise, the sealing heaven soul transforming formation would be activated, and they would be killed. That should be the demon tree that once grew in the Goblin Temple in the northern part of the tranquil continent, right? Yu Yuan raised his eyebrows and looked at the barren tree without a single leaf. He sensed the will of the sword spirit and said, "The seed of this tree is not from Hauran. It was brought back from outer space by a demon god of the Goblin Temple. After the seed was planted in the Goblin Temple, there was no movement at all. Once, in the Goblin Temple, there was a bloody massacre to clean up the traitors. Many great demons were slaughtered, and the demon blood filled the soil where the tree was buried. Miraculously, the tree was stimulated, and the seed finally sprouted. For many years after that, the Goblin Temple would always choose that place to slaughter traitors. I can't believe that the demon tree is growing just like that. It's a rare species that's between a living creature and a plant. As far as I know, the demon god that brought it back from outer space was ancient god Golden Elephant. After ancient god Golden Elephant's realm fell, the demon tree went out of control and quietly left the Goblin Temple. It started to appear in the tranquil continent, killing many demon cultivators in the Devil's Palace and disciples of the Red Devil School. Under the pursuit of the Goblin Temple, the demon tree fled to the Qian continent. Later, Xuantianzong found it and sent it here to be suppressed. Then, Yu Yuan explained the tree's origin to Nie Tian with great familiarity. The demon tree floated in the air, its demonic aura soaring into the sky. It was a tree, but rich and violent demonic aura surged and flowed within its roots and branches. In Yu Yuan's and Earth Devil Shimeng's eyes, the demon tree of unknown origins that ancient god Golden Elephant had brought back from outer space was already a great demon. And this one? He turned to look at the ball of bloody light. Greetings, Senior of the Blood God. The ball of bloody light belonged to a bloodthirsty elder when the Blood God first established the sect. The elder of the Blood God was rumored to be the elder brother of the founder of the Blood God. His cultivation was so high that he secretly snuck into the Tianyuan continent and entrusted his Yin soul to a genius of Xuantianzong in the Naiwan acupoint. He secretly learned Xuantianzong's exquisite spirit incantations. Xuantianzong's genius had been devoured when Qin Lai was about to condense his Yin soul. However, when he swallowed the Yin god, the commotion was so great that it alerted the elites of the Black Heaven sect. Xuantianzong was furious and sent several Yang souls under the lead of a Freedom Realm cultivator to find the demon tree's true body. In the end, Xuantianzong's grand cultivator killed him, who had reached the peak of the Yang soul realm. However, even Xuantianzong couldn't refine his blood. Moreover, after his Yin soul and Yang soul exploded, the remaining wisps of his will and consciousness miraculously merged with his own blood. It seemed that this was because he had fused the blood gods and Xuantianzong's mysterious secret incantations. Xuantianzong was a nascent divinity realm cultivator. He had seen the blood and said that if he refined it, his own nascent divinity would be injured. Therefore, he sealed it with a magical artifact and sent it to this world, where the Shunhun sect was responsible for guarding it. The elder of the blood god's body and soul had been destroyed, and his remaining blood had existed just like that. The ball of bloody light formed by fusing Xuantianzong's and the blood god's secret incantations only contained a part of the deceased's will and consciousness. After being suppressed and refined by the Shunhun sect, it hadn't been able to grow and rise again. That was why he hadn't been able to become one of the top 10 outsider soul realm demons in the Forbidden Land of the Falling Moons, even though it was very difficult for him to be completely annihilated. If he had gathered all of his Yin soul and Yang soul when he had formed that ball of bloody light, he would have become one of the top 10 forbidden lands long ago. In fact, he would have been even more powerful than the heavenly devil Cyan Nightmare and the heaven-shaking Emperor. You know a lot, the Earth Demon said with a smile. Now that you know who we are, I'm sure you know who the one who left is as well. Yu Yuan nodded slightly. Just as he was about to tell her the identity and background of the one with a human head and a dragon's body, he suddenly sensed something and looked in a direction with a surprised expression. One bright red lotus flower after another suddenly came into his sight, which was so familiar to him. Sister City Governor. Even though Yu Yuan was in the soul-dissolving lake, he could sense Yuan Lianyao's existence with great clarity. As he had expected, standing on a red lotus flower, Yuan Lianyao was dressed in a red dress, which made her look like a beautiful flower. She was accompanied by a dozen or so Silver Moon Empire cultivators who were dressed in different garments. Yuan Lianyao was the prettiest among them, but her cultivation base and status weren't very high. As she approached the soul-dissolving lake and heard Yu Yuan's exclamation, her beautiful eyes instantly lit up. Yu Yuan. Yu Yuan from the Yu clan is still alive. The Silver Moon Empire cultivators who had come with her all had grim expressions on their faces as they looked at the crowd of outsider soul demons, the Earth Devil, Shi Xiu, the demonic tree, and the ball of bloody light. Compared to the three outsider soul demons, Yu Yuan's life and death didn't seem worth mentioning. Shi Xiu, the demonic tree, and the ball of bloody light had all appeared in the Silver Moon Empire. I understand, I finally understand. At this moment, a shudder ran through Yu Yuan as he fixed his eyes on the ball of bloody light condensed from the blood of the Elder of the Blood God. If I'm not mistaken, you're in Dark Moon City right now. It's very likely that you're somewhere in the Yu clan. Chapter 177. And Ziqing of the Blood God had been hiding in the Yu clan for many years as a servant girl. And Ziqing had chosen him because his heaven and earth souls weren't complete, and his intelligence wasn't high enough. This gave Ziqing the freedom to move around without worrying about being discovered. And Ziqing seemed to be looking for something. What was she looking for? Another disciple of the Blood God had been planning for many years to condense a nether soul in Dark Moon City, which had nothing to do with Ziqing. She didn't need to stay in Dark Moon City for long. As a purple-robed servant girl, Ziqing's identity meant that she was after something else. As the changes in heaven and earth occurred, many outsiders broke free from their dormant states, including the cluster of bloodlight. He was the elder brother of the founding sect master of the Blood God, and the first elder of the sect. He had been hiding in Xuantianzong on the Tianyuan continent, where he had secretly learned the incantations and secret magics of Xuantianzong, one of the three great sections. He had mastered them and created his own unique incantations, which allowed him to keep his blood intact after his death. The sect of the Blood God must have known about his incredible deed. After he had been sealed in the forbidden land of the fallen moons by the Shenhun sect, the Blood God must have secretly come to search for him. The sect of the Blood God must have found some clues through some unknown means. He must have learned that the cluster of bloodlight he had condensed had been taken out of the Forbidden Land by chance and ended up in Dark Moon City. It was very likely that he was in the Yu clan. The person Ziqing was looking for was most likely him. If she could find him and bring him back to the Blood God on the tranquil continent, it would be an unparalleled achievement. This was much more important than looking after that person and helping him condense a nether soul. Yu Yuan firmly believed that the cluster of blood light in front of him was what Ziqing was looking for. However, even though Ziqing had stayed in the Yu clan in Dark Moon City for so many years, nothing had happened in the Forbidden Land of the Falling Moons. That blood-colored light that had been hiding in an unknown location hadn't been alarmed and rushed out. Otherwise, it might have been taken back to the Blood God and enshrined there already. Yu Yuan. Yuan Lianyao was overjoyed when she heard his cries again. She stepped on red lotus flowers and wanted to come over to figure out the situation. Don't! A handsome and thin middle-aged man with graying temples and a carefree temperament raised his hand to stop him. Over there, don't go over there. Yuan Lianyao glanced at him and said, Su Xiangtian, your daughter, and the members of your Su clan are in the group of trial takers as well. Yu Yuan is still alive. We can only figure out the situation through him. My daughter is alive and well. The second-generation leader of the Su clan had a calm expression as he looked at the other side of the sky. I can sense the aura of the divine feather heavenly robe from 1,000 miles away. Su Xiangtian was a collateral relative of the Su family, but due to his sudden appearance, he had been internally designated as the future patriarch of the Su family. Before he came to the Forbidden Grounds, he had just broken through to the middle stage of the Yin Spirit stage. Among his peers, he was the strongest in terms of cultivation level and strength. He was deeply trusted by the head of the Su clan and the Empress. It was rumored that the Empress believed that Su Xiangtian was the only one in the empire who could catch up to Zhou Tsangmin in the future. The imperial preceptor of the Scarlet Sun Empire was much older than Su Xiangtian. He was already at the late stage of the Soul Wander realm and was expected to transform from the Heaven Soul to the Sun Soul in the near future. Su Xiangtian was the most outstanding figure of this generation in the Silver Moon Empire. He was already at the middle stage of the Yin Spirit stage. When Zhou Tsangmin left the Qianxian continent and became an elder of the Primal Yang sect, and when Su Xiangtian grew up and entered the Soul Wander realm, the situation of the Silver Moon Empire being suppressed by the Scarlet Sun Empire might be reversed. Her Majesty the Empress had high hopes for Su Xiangtian, and many old people were well aware of it. It was also because of this that among the cultivators of the Silver Moon Empire, who were arranged to enter the Forbidden Grounds, Su Xiangtian was not the strongest in terms of cultivation level and strength. However, under the hint of the Empress, the old people were willing to follow Su Xiangtian's orders. Yu Yuan is very important to our Dark Moon City and our empire, Yuan Lianyao shouted. She knew that Su Yin of the Su family had used this opportunity to pressure the Yu family to stop buying spirit herbs, causing the Yu family and the Su family to become enemies. Su Xiangtian naturally wouldn't care about such a trivial matter. However, Su Yin had secretly caused the Yu family to be dissatisfied with the Su family, so Su Xiangtian could more or less hear about it. In that case, would it affect Su Xiangtian's impression and attitude toward Yu Yuan? The Yu family and our Lin family have some relationship. We must do our best to protect Yu Yuan. Lin Fengyan of the Lin family said to Su Xiangtian with a solemn expression, Brother Su, we can't abandon him just because his cultivation level is low. Lin Fengyan was Lin Hanyu's older brother and Lin Zhiyun's uncle. He had always had a calm personality. He was older than Su Xiangtian by a full cycle, and his cultivation level was only at the early stage of the Yin Spirit stage. His younger brother, Lin Hanyu, was only at the late stage of the Breaking Profound realm. He hadn't even entered the subtle realm. Thus, Lin Fengyan, who had entered the Yin Spirit stage, was already extraordinarily talented. Even in the Empire, a Yin master was considered a respectable cultivation base and cultivation base. Compared to Su Xiangtian, the current head of the Lin family was still a lot weaker. There was only one person like Su Xiangtian in the Silver Moon Empire who had surpassed his peers. Big Brother Lin, don't worry. Before I came, Her Majesty had instructed that regardless of cultivation level or identity, as long as they are people of the Empire, they will be brought back alive. Su Xiangtian solemnly assured him. Then, he said to Yuan Lianyao, let me first figure out the situation. Okay. Yuan Lianyao nodded. A faintly discernible soul thought was born from Su Xiangtian's body. Suddenly, the wings of Su Yan's divine feather heavenly robe fluttered even though there was no wind. The pure white feathers were like beautiful jade, releasing a sparkling and holy light. My father is here. Su Yen was excited. Su Xiangtian came personally. Li Yuchan's cold eyes suddenly shone when he heard her words. It's really him? Su Yen nodded gently. Moreover, my father has broken through to the middle stage of the in-spirit stage. The juniors of the empire who were present all exclaimed when they heard that Su Xiangtian had broken through again. Yu Feifei, Zhao Yafu, and the others in the Anhua city did not feel much about Su Xiangtian. However, Yen Lu, Li Yu, Zhan Tianxiang, and the others who knew the situation of the empire were all shocked. Su Xiangtian's breakthrough to the middle stage of the in-spirit stage meant that no one in the same generation and age could suppress him. The old head of the Su family had long since announced that when Su Xiangtian advanced further, he would take the initiative to abdicate. As a collateral descendant of the Su family, he had become the head of the empire's mainstay at such a young age. Su Xiangtian was destined to be recorded in the annals of history. If Zhou Tsangmin of the Qiyang Empire was the idol of the younger generation of the Qiyang Empire, then Su Xiangtian of this generation was the hero of all the young people of the Silver Moon Empire. Even the bloodthirsty and ruthless Li Yuchan's cold eyes shone when she heard that Su Xiangtian had broken through to the middle stage of the in-spirit stage. This showed that deep in her heart, this female butcher of the empire admired Su Xiangtian very much. Su family, Su Xiangtian. In the soul pool, Yu Yuan heard the conversation outside. He looked at the azure-robed boy, Shi Yen, who was smiling without any fear. He could not help but frown secretly. He began to worry that the cultivators of the Silver Moon Empire might not be able to stop them. Yu Yuan. Suddenly, Su Xiangtian took a light breath. His eyes shone as he said softly, "An extraordinary person has appeared in your Anhua city," he said to Yuan Lianyao. Unrivaled power. Chapter 178. Through the divine feather heavenly garment, Su Xiangtian was able to communicate with his daughter, Su Yen. He could sense and capture his daughter's thoughts. Thanks to Su Yen, Su Xiangtian had learned about Yu Yuan's incredible feats in the forbidden land of the falling moons from her. Su Yen wanted to ease the relationship between the Su clan and the Yu clan and let her father know about Yu Yuan's greatness. She hoped that her father could make the Su clan and the Yu clan reconcile again. Therefore, when she conveyed her thoughts, almost all of them were praise and praise. Yu Yuan's wisdom, decisiveness and ruthlessness at critical moments, and his familiarity with this world were all clearly described by Su Yen. Su Xiangtian had always loved and cared for his precious daughter. While Su Yen was still shocked by Yu Yuan's miraculous abilities, he also had other thoughts. This girl has always been arrogant. She didn't even take Li Yu and Yen Lu seriously. How many years has it been since she had such a high opinion of any young man her age? Su Xiangtian believed that none of the cultivators her age from the Qianxian continent were worthy of his daughter. Even Duan Guanlan from the Crimson Sun Empire, who was favored by the primal Yang sect, and those so-called young talents from other empires weren't worthy of his daughter. He had always believed that his future son-in-law should be on the Tianyuan continent or the Tranquil continent. He was rather surprised that his daughter thought so highly of Yu Yuan, and he even suspected that his daughter was exaggerating because she had fallen in love with him. However, he still turned to Yuan Lianyao and said, "Dark Moon City has an extraordinary person." Extraordinary person? Lin Fengyan from the Lin clan raised his eyebrows and said, "The trial taker of Dark Moon City, Zhao Yafu from the Zhao clan, is in the limelight. I heard that her cultivation base advanced rapidly before she entered the Forbidden Land." The lazy old general who had been guarding the entrance of the Forbidden Land was also among the crowd from the Silver Moon Empire. He blinked his eyes and thought of someone, but didn't say it out loud. "Guess who it is?" Su Xiangtian's expression was calm, but a hint of testing flashed across the depths of his clear eyes. Yuan Lianyao said casually. Yuan. Lin Fengyan was stunned. The old general nodded slightly. The rest of the guests from the Silver Moon Empire looked at each other in astonishment. Most of them had never gone to the entrance of the Forbidden Lands, so Yuan had never seen him before. Therefore, he had never heard of this name. Well, Yuan was originally the son-in-law of the Lin family, the fiancé of the Lin girl. Old General Mu explained. What? That idiot from Dark Moon City? It can't be? Didn't Lin Zhiyun's fiancé not have wisdom since he was young? The cultivators of the Silver Moon Empire were shocked. How can you be sure it's him? Su Xiangtian's eyes lit up as he fixed his gaze on Yuan Lianyao and said in a soft voice, You shouldn't know what he did in the Forbidden Land of the Falling Moons. What right do you have to be so arbitrary and think that the amazing person in the Dark Moon City is him, Yuan, and not others? Yuan Lianyao chuckled. You know too little about the Dark Moon City. Besides, you haven't paid enough attention to the Yu clan. Su Xiangtian frowned. I wasn't the one who contacted the Yu clan. I understand. Yuan Lianyao nodded and said, Now that you know how rare Yuan is, I hope you can pay more attention to him. She didn't know about the soul-transforming pool, nor did she know about the profound connection between Yuan and the Sealing Heaven soul-transforming formation. She only thought that Yuan was trapped in the pit ahead. Numerous deviant soul-great demons were gathered above the pit. Among them were the Earth Devil, Shima, the demonic tree, and the ball of bloody light. Before coming here, she had learned from Su Xiangtian that the Earth Devil, Shima, the demonic tree, the ball of bloody light, and the ghost ape had appeared several times in the history of the Silver Moon Empire. Each time, they had set off a storm of blood and plunged the empire into misery and suffering. The information Su Xiangtian had received was recorded in the ancient records of the empire by the Empress. Old General. Su Xiangtian bowed slightly and looked at the old man who had come with him. He said, The Duan families Duan Tianhong and the Ghost Ape are fighting in the Scarlet Sun Empire. If you participate in the battle, the Ghost Ape should be suppressed. All right. The old general nodded slightly and suddenly rushed into the sky. A small boat suddenly unfurled beneath the old general's feet. The boat seemed to be made of green jade. It was sparkling and translucent, with a qilin and a black tortoise sealed inside. Blood energy as vast as the sea surged inside the boat. The qilin and the black tortoise fought to devour the blood energy that surged out, causing the boat to move as fast as lightning. In the blink of an eye, it arrived at the battlefield between Duan Tianhong and the Ghost Ape. Elwo! Elwo! The qilin and the black tortoise roared inside the boat, inhaling and exhaling a vast amount of blood energy, causing them to charge out of the green jade boat. After the black tortoise appeared, it slowly wrapped around the qilin, as if it was using the qilin as its mount. Its aura grew more and more terrifying. Li Yuangue, Duan Tianhong, who was in the lava pool above his head, poured down a rain of fire that burned the ghost ape below him. The snow-white ghost ape's steel needle-like hair burned with sizzling sounds as its howls shook the sky. You came at the entrance of the Forbidden Land with such ferocious momentum. I could only avoid you for now. The old general stood on the boat and looked at the black tortoise that was rapidly expanding. He said with a smile, It's different now. We're all here. The boat suddenly fell. Suddenly, the black tortoise that looked like it was riding a qilin solidified, and for some reason, black balls of water appeared and smashed towards the ghost ape. Each of the black balls of water was as heavy as a mountain. Inside them were many ancient turtle-shaped characters that could control water. The battle started again. Beside the soul pool, the earth demon Shiho, who was looking down at the black soul energy at the bottom of the pool, seemed to have sensed something. He turned around and looked in the direction of the ghost ape with a smile. The black tortoise's soul has swallowed chilins and refined them into black water pearls. This old man is quite bold. With a single glance, Shiho seemed to have seen through the old general's cultivation method, the origin of the black balls of water, and the might of the black tortoise. Little brother Yu, can I come down and talk to you? He turned around and looked at Yu Yuan, who was sitting motionlessly at the bottom of the soul pool, and asked with a pleading expression. Yu Yuan looked up and waved at him with a bright smile. Come on then. The earth demon Shiho suddenly shrank his head. I'm a little scared when you wave at me like this. That was because as soon as Yu Yuan waved his hand, wisps of ancient sword intent shot out from the cracks in the earth in all directions and vaguely locked onto his soul. Almost at the same time, a terrifying rumble of thunder echoed out from the depths of the clouds. It sounded like the wrath of the god of thunder, and was about to deliver divine punishment. Shiho's heart trembled as he hurriedly shrank his head, and instantly gave up on the idea of entering the soul pool. Wisps of soul will were instantly born from his body. The ghost ape, the demonic tree, the ball of blood-colored light, and the burly man with a human head and a dragon's body, who was even further away, immediately heard his voice. That kid really is in perfect harmony with the heaven-sealing soul-transforming formation. Don't try to enter the soul pool. Chapter 179. At the bottom of the soul-refining pool, Yu Yuan was full of smiles. The earth demon, Shi Xiu, the demon tree, and the ball of bloody light formed by the first elder of the blood god, had all moved slightly away from him. When Shi Xiu had provoked him, they had sensed the ancient sword intent that had suddenly appeared from the cracks in the ground and the terrifying thunder in the clouds. They didn't dare to act rashly. At the bottom of the pool, Yu Yuan's smile didn't change, but a trace of bitterness rose in his heart. He was the only one who knew that the unprecedented heaven-sealing soul-refining formation created by the Shunhun sect hadn't been fully activated. The soul-refining pool still needed more soul energy to fill it. He pointed at Shi Nua from afar. The sharp sword intent and the rumble of thunder in the clouds were just a bluff. Before the grand formation was fully formed, the power of the restriction was limited. It couldn't be sustained. The attack against Duan Tianxi earlier had consumed a lot of soul energy. If he used the same method to punish the earth demon, Shi Xiu, the soul energy he had secretly devoured before Shi Xiu was killed might be used up. If that happened, the heaven-sealing soul-refining formation wouldn't be able to operate. Not enough, still not enough. Yu Yuan was looking forward to seeing the fiercest and bloodiest battles break out outside the soul-dissolving lake. She was looking forward to seeing more outsider souls or nether gods like Duan Tianxi and Duan Tianhong perish in the vicinity. Only in this way would the sword marks on the walls of the soul-transforming pool be replenished with more soul power. The earth demon, Shi Ming, is biding his time. That demonic tree and that ball of bloody light aren't attacking immediately either. He looked up at the sky and saw more and more ghouls gathering around him, as if they were waiting for Shi Nua's orders. Whoosh! Whoosh whoosh! At the same time, more and more outsider souls were flying over from the surroundings. Gradually, the sky above the soul-dissolving lake was filled with all kinds of outsider souls and demon spirit. They were like locusts, numbering in the thousands. If, a thought occurred to him, if all the shade soul demons and powerful shade soul demons like Shi Xiu were killed in a short time, then the soul-refining pool beneath him would be filled with soul energy. At that time, the heaven-sealing soul-transforming formation would be activated once again. I have to think of a way to force them into a bloody battle without involving me. He pondered. Duan Tianxi. Su Xiangtian let out a loud shout. At the edge of the soul-dissolving pool, Duan Tianxi, who was looking at Shi Kun and the others from a distance, shook slightly and said, "I'm here." Duan Guanlan and Qin Yun stood on either side of Duan Tianxi. Qin Yun was ready for battle, while Duan Guanlan looked gloomy and had lost all his fighting spirit. The destruction of the gilded Devil Soul Talisman by Yu Yuan was like a heavy blow to his soul, causing him to be unable to recover. After losing the gilded Devil Soul Talisman, he, who was at the shattering profound realm, appeared to be abnormally poor when facing the group of deviant souls. Every time Shihua looked at him, he was terrified. He was afraid that he would be killed in the next moment. Scarlet Sun Empire, are there any more guests? Su Xiangtian shouted. Between him and Duan Tianxi was the earth demon, Shi Kuan, and the soul-dissolving pool. Through his conversation with his daughter, Su Yan, Su Xiangtian had learned that a group of cultivators from the Scarlet Sun Empire had been killed by the Duan brothers, and that the Duan brothers had a deep relationship with the Red Devil School. Su Xiangtian was confused. He didn't know what role the Duan family played in the Scarlet Sun Empire's trip to the Forbidden Land. He also didn't know if there were cultivators from the Scarlet Sun Empire hiding in the dark, waiting for them to come and take advantage of the situation when they and Shi Kuan and the deviant souls were both injured. That's all. Duan Tianxi smiled bitterly. He hesitated for a moment and said, "There was an accident on our trip." As he spoke, he couldn't help but look at Yu Yuan in the soul-dissolving pool. Yu Yuan sensed his gaze and looked up at him with a smile. Duan Tianxi felt a chill in his heart. He didn't say the rest of his words. For some reason, Yu Yuan, whose cultivation base was clearly low, looked at him with such a deep and sharp gaze, as if she were a wise senior who had seen through everything in his heart, giving him a sense of helplessness, as if he had nowhere to hide. A bunch of clowns. Suddenly, the earth demon, Shi Kuan, who looked like a blue-robed boy, smiled brightly as if he had decided on something. He nodded slightly at the ball of bloody light beside him. Yuan Lianyao, who was at the back and surrounded by bright red lotuses, suddenly paled. She couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. The bright red lotuses seemed to have been smeared with clusters of blood. They became coquettish and bloody, and exuded an abnormally strong pungent smell of blood. The red lotuses bloomed with a coquettish light that made people's hearts feel oppressed. Su Xiangtian and the other guests from the Silver Moon Empire all paled. Everyone's middle dantian's profound gate, the place where they accumulated and gathered their blood essence, instantly became turbulent. The thick blood flowing in their bodies instantly went out of control. The secret art of the blood god. Su Xiangtian looked at the coquettish red lotuses that belonged to Yuan Lianyao and paled with shock. Whoosh! The coquettish red lotuses seemed to bind Yuan Lianyao, pulling her coquettish and sexy body to where the ball of bloody light was. The ball of bloody light twisted and swayed, turning into a scarlet blood shadow. The blood silhouette extended a hand and pointed above the soul-dissolving pool. Yuan Lianyao's sexy body floated above the soul-dissolving pool under the influence of the numerous bright red lotuses. Yu Yuan raised her head and saw her floating in midair. Zzzt. Inside the enchanting red lotus, beams of blood-colored light shot out like sharp spears and swords, pressing against Yuan Lianyao's towering chest, her fair, slender neck, and the meridian points on her forehead that was as smooth as jade. It was as if the bloody light were to advance a few more inches, Yuan Lianyao would die. The city lord of Anua City, a peerless beauty of the empire who was as famous as Li Yuchan, was now imprisoned by the void, unable to move. The blood shadow was right beside the soul-refining pool, its appearance not clear and real, and it didn't say a word. Earth demon Shiming nodded slightly and said, "Thank you." The blood shadow still didn't move. It just controlled the coquettish red lotuses and infused its power into them, preparing to kill Yuan Lianyao at any time. City Lord Yuan! Yuan Lianyao! The guests from the Silver Moon Empire didn't realize what had happened until now. Su Xiangtian, who was at the middle Yin spirit stage, had anger written all over his handsome face. Right under his nose, among the cultivators from the Silver Moon Empire, Yuan Lianyao of Anua City had been captured alive and held above the soul-refining pool by the blood shadow. It was a great humiliation. I'm sorry, brother you. Earth demon Shi Ming finally dared to stand beside the pool again and look down at Yu Yuan at the bottom of the pool. It's not easy to have a good talk with you. I won't be going down. Please come up. Pfft. A beam of bloody light pierced through Yuan Lianyao's left shoulder, splashing blood everywhere. Imprisoned by the red lotuses she refined and threatened by the bloody light, Yuan Lianyao's face was bitter. She never thought that one day her life would be threatened. Her life was only one of the conditions of the other party's talks with Yu Yuan. Chapter 180. The cultivators of the Silver Moon Empire, led by Su Xiangtian, all rushed over in fury. The demonic tree seemed to have received Shi Shui's instructions. Its enormous trunk suddenly soared into the sky, and then fell heavily. As it fell, the demonic tree's trunk grew again. In just 10 breaths, the demonic tree became more than 100 meters tall. Its leafless branches shone with a cold, metallic luster, which made people's hearts palpitate. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Hundreds of outsider souls and evil spirits perched on the branches like crows. The evil spirits stared at Su Xiangtian and the others with their strange, cold eyes, as if warning them not to act rashly while Shi Shui was talking to Yu Yuan. Stop right there, son of the Su clan. Shi Shui turned her head and smiled brightly. If you don't want that woman to die because of you right now. Su Xiangtian stopped abruptly. Shi Shui's words were too vicious. Die because of him? If he continued to move forward after Shi Shui said this, and Yuan Lianyao really died, he wouldn't be able to defend himself. What do you want? Su Xiangtian asked in a deep voice. You wait outside, Shi Shui said with a soft smile. Then, she looked at Yu Yuan at the bottom of the lake. Please come up here and talk. Otherwise, she won't feel good. Then, she looked at Yuan Lianyao. Another beam of sharp, blood-colored light attempted to pierce through Yuan Lianyao's second shoulder. Okay, I'll come up right away, Yu Yuan said. Don't. The master of Dark Moon City, who was threatened by the beams of blood-colored light from the coquettish red lotus, said with a sad smile, Don't be controlled by them, Yu Yuan. Blood dripped from his shoulder and flowed down. The blood in his veins and blood vessels, which he had refined with great care, was also controlled by the blood shadow in the middle dantian, just like the qi and blood in his middle dantian. That first-generation elder of the Divine Blood Church, who had died and was full of blood but was still alive in another form, was too terrifying. She would never have thought that the blood shadow in front of her, the cluster of blood light from before, was actually hiding in Dark Moon City, which was under her control. It was impossible for her to know that Blood Shadow had regained his consciousness for a short period of time during an anomaly in the Forbidden Land. Then, many years ago, when she had been secretly refining the lotuses she had brought back from the Forbidden Land of Fallen Moon, the Blood Shadow had planted imprints in them. She was completely unaware. And Ziqing was looking for that ball of blood-red light. Unfortunately, the ball of blood-red light fell silent once more after that, and it silently concealed all its aura, causing Ziqing to come up empty-handed. However, every time Ziqing practiced the blood god's legacies in the Yu clan, she would feel her blood boiling. From this, he knew that he had always been in Anua City, and that he was nearby. This was the reason why Ziqing concealed her identity and stayed in Anua City for a long time as a maid in the Yu family. I'm coming up. Yu Yuan's smile vanished, and his expression was calm and peaceful. Step by step, he climbed up the soul-dissolving pool. His eyes only fell on Yuan Lianyao and did not look at Earth Devil Shi Ming. Nor did he pay any attention to the blood shadow. For the first time, the city governor, who was floating in midair and dripping with blood, seemed somewhat delicate. She was no longer as beautiful and enchanting as she had been in the past. Her eyes, which seemed to be able to speak, were now filled with helplessness. At this moment, her image as a strong woman was finally torn to shreds. Don't worry, Sister City Governor. You'll be fine. Yu Yuan slowly walked forward, the 5 fingers of his left hand pointing at Earth Devil Shi Ming, whether intentionally or not. Sword light blazed in his arm bone as wisps of sword soul communicated with his mind. Shi Ming's smile suddenly became very unnatural as she said, "Little brother Yu, there's something I want to talk to you about. You don't have to treat me like an enemy." "I don't trust the Earth Devils," Yu Yuan said coldly. Shi Ming went blank for a moment before coming to her senses. "You've seen white ghouls before? I'm different from white ghouls, little brother Yu. You should know that the Earth Demon clan is full of strange creatures, each one different from the rest." Yu Yuan let out a snort and said, "Anyway, that white ghoul never spoke the truth. Do all Earth Devils like to play this kind of trick? Capturing people related to me and using them to threaten me. What you're doing now, White Ghost has done the same." "Where's White Ghoul?" Shi Ming asked curiously. "Why do you ask when you already know the answer?" Yu Yuan said with a mocking tone. Shi Ming's expression grew serious as she said, "We really don't know what happened in the Forbidden Land. Why did the grand spell formation suddenly lose its effect?" "I don't believe that you didn't see it." Yu Yuan pointed at the sky. "Didn't you see that huge bronze coffin breaking free from the forbidden land of the fallen moons and flying into the starry river?" Shi Ming didn't dare to call the man in the bronze coffin by his name. Instead, she said, "I vaguely saw him leave. What about the rest?" "The rest?" Yu Yuan rubbed his chin. "What do you mean by the rest? What about the other lords? Other than White Ghoul, what about Green Nightmare and Emperor Heaven Shaking?" Shi Ming's tone and expression were clearly less respectful when she talked about the other 3 lords. It seemed that in her heart, the forbidden land of the Shunhun sect was the most terrifying one. The situation with the Blood Shadow and the nearby demonic tree was exactly the same as her. They seemed to want to compete with the heavenly demon Green Nightmare, the Earth Devil White Ghoul, and Emperor Heaven Shaking. However, when it came to the man in the bronze coffin, they didn't even have the slightest desire to fight him. "I don't think I need to tell you about the other 3 lords." With these words, Yu Yuan, who was about to leave the soul-dissolving lake, suddenly looked at the Blood Shadow and said, "Well, if I'm not mistaken, you used to be called Anzan Shan. What you used on Sister City Governor was the Blood God's secret magic, the Grand Blood Soul magic, right?" The Blood Shadow didn't move at all. "Little brother Yu, I'm not interested in the White Ghosts or the Green Nightmares, but I do want to know where Emperor Hantian is right now." Sheen's handsome little face suddenly turned grim. "He refined and devoured part of my soul. I still can't recover my lost memories. Only by finding him will I be able to complete them." "Let her go and I'll tell you," Yu Yuan said with a smile. "No," Shi Ming shook her head. "One piece of information isn't enough to exchange for her life. I need a lot of things." "You're taking things for granted," Yu Yuan suddenly said. "What?" Shi Ming seemed to realize something after a moment of astonishment. "Oh, this woman cares about you a lot. But in your eyes, her life isn't that important. Isn't that so?" Hearing this, Yuan Lianyao's eyes dimmed, but she didn't say anything. She knew that Yu Yuan was cruel and merciless despite his young age. She wasn't surprised at all that Yu Yuan had sacrificed her at a critical moment. "I'm saying you're taking things for granted because you think everything is under your control. How laughable." Yu Yuan looked away from Shi Ming and stared at the Blood Shadow again. "Senior Anzan Shan, you don't know how many memories and consciousness you have left, but I hope you can ignore the Earth Demon's bewitchment and let her go." Shi Ming laughed involuntarily. "Little brother Yu, you can't do this. And Ziqing, who came to the Yu family as my servant girl for many years, must be your direct descendant. She must have sensed the blood-soul great art you cultivate, and knows that you're her ancestor and the source of her blood." Yu Yuan just stared straight at the bloody figure and said, "That girl has never harmed me. No matter what her purpose was, she has served me for many years. When Dark Moon City changed, that girl tried her best to invite me to the Blood God. Perhaps one day I'll really go to the Blood God and become a disciple of the Blood God. For her sake, I promise you that I'll help you get what you want from the Forbidden Land. Let her go and listen to my orders. I promise you that you'll get what you want and return to the Blood God, Yu Yuan said in a powerful and resonant voice. Shi Ming laughed strangely. Stop dreaming. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The beams of sharp blood-colored light that were threatening Yuan Lianyao from the Red Lotus suddenly shrank back. The city lord of Dark Moon City had lost too much blood and fell from the sky. The Crimson Lotus floated on top of her, sending her enchanting body directly to Yu Yuan. Yu Yuan suddenly reached out, grabbed her waist, and caught her. Thank you, Senior. Chapter 181. The city lord of Dark Moon City fell into Yu Yuan's hands under the support of numerous red lotuses. Yu Yuan let out a sigh of relief as he wrapped his arms around Yuan Lianyao's curvy waist and inhaled the intoxicating fragrance she exuded. Then, he bowed respectfully to the Blood Shadow. Many thanks, Senior. With these words, he looked down and saw that the city lord, who had lost a lot of blood, had a rare hint of embarrassment on her pale face. Are you all right, sister? He asked in a soft voice. Yuan Lianyao, who was filled with shock and confusion, felt the warmth of Nie Tian's hands as he wrapped his arms around her waist. Her heart was in a mess as she said, "Put me down first." Her shoulder had been pierced by her own spiritual tool, causing her to bleed. This made Yuan Lianyao feel very frustrated. She couldn't figure out why the lotuses she had refined day and night with her flesh aura would be controlled by the Blood Shadow. She knew nothing about the Blood God, Anzan Shan, or the Blood Soul Grand Incantation. She only had one feeling. If that Blood Shadow really wanted her dead, she would have died long ago. She didn't know much about Yu Yuan's feats in the Fallen Moon Forbidden Land. She didn't know that Yu Yuan, who had been acknowledged by the Sealing Soul Refining Formation and carried an ancient sword soul, was a unique existence in this heaven and earth. She had thought that Yu Yuan had only been pretending to climb out of the soul refining lake. She had thought that Yu Yuan didn't intend to do anything to her after being captured by the Earth Devil, Shi Shui. However, Yu Yuan had managed to convince the Blood Shadow with just a few words. It was clear that the Blood Shadow no longer cared about Shi Shui, and handed her life over to Yu Yuan as a great gift. What the hell was going on? Yuan Lianyao couldn't figure it out. Su Xiangtian, Duan Tianxi, Qin Yun, and the other cultivators of the Silver Moon Empire couldn't see through it either. Shifan also stared blankly at the Blood Shadow and asked with her soul consciousness, why? The Blood Shadow that had been condensed from the blood of the Blood God, Anzan Shan's discarnate soul, and Zuantianzong's secret magics flickered with blood-colored light. Shi Wan instantly understood. He did not know whether to laugh or cry. You actually believe him? Even if a junior in the Spirit Nurture stage was recognized by the Sword Soul and could control the Heaven-Sealing Soul dissolving formation, so what? Do you really think that he can help you achieve something that I can't? Sigh, after all, your soul is incomplete and your intelligence is muddled. Otherwise, you would have easily understood and stood on that side. Shi Huo was extremely disappointed in that Blood Shadow. The Blood Shadow remained unmoved. Yu Yuan, who was holding Yuan Lianyao in his arms, pointed his other hand at Shi Yu. He smiled brightly and then flew back to the bottom of the pond. Bright red lotuses quietly dragged the two of them like bright lanterns. The moment they landed, the tip of Yuan Lianyao's eyebrows flickered, and a hint of blood appeared on her lips. One wisp of pure flesh aura after another flew from the red lotuses into the profound gate in her Dantian region. Within the profound gate, The rich flesh aura exuded immense life force that rapidly nourished her internal organs and healed the wound on her shoulder before she knew it. The pure flesh aura came from her. She had used it to cleanse the lotuses in her early years. However, the lotuses seemed to have sensed her injuries, and thus returned to her on their own accord. "Do you feel better now, Sister City Governor?" With a faint smile, Yu Yuan slowly helped her sit down. "The blood god's blood soul grand magic is very profound and miraculous. If I'm not mistaken, that senior is hiding in Dark Moon City, and most likely in our Yu clan. Since he's well versed in the blood soul grand magic, he must have secretly implanted some of his blood imprints into your spiritual tool. With the help of the blood soul grand magic, he secretly influenced your spiritual tool and controlled the flesh aura you poured into it with the imprint. However, I believe that Senior has already stopped. Moreover, he has scattered the blood imprints and the remnant will that belong to him. In this way, the imprints will become pure flesh aura without the slightest distracting thought. You can try to refine them," Yu Yuan reminded her. Yuan Lianyao, whose cultivation base wasn't low, suddenly came to a realization after hearing his words. She hastily sat down at the bottom of the pool, where ink-colored soul power was surging, and attempted to use secret magics to sense the surging flesh aura in the profound gate. Her beautiful eyes suddenly lit up as she looked at Yu Yuan with astonishment. What Yu Yuan had said was true. There were indeed bits of strange flesh aura that didn't belong to any master mixed in her surging flesh aura. "This is also a fortune." Yu Yuan nodded with a smile. Then, he clasped his hands towards the blood shadow at the edge of the soul-dissolving pool to express his gratitude. The blood shadow still didn't give him a response. Earth Devil Shiming's expression was unfriendly as he stared coldly at the blood shadow. However, he clearly knew that the blood shadow wasn't easy to deal with. Even though the blood shadow hadn't followed his orders to imprison Yuan Lianyao so that he could blackmail Yu Yuan, he didn't want to fight with the blood shadow at this time. Grand Emperor Heaven Shaking escaped from the Howren Heaven and escaped into the Starry River with that huge bronze coffin. After returning to the bottom of the pool and seeing that Yuan Lianyao was unharmed, Yu Yuan looked up at Shi Ming and told her the truth. "What about you? If you want to restore your soul and recover your lost memories, you'll have to go to the Starry River with that huge bronze coffin." Shi Ming's expression flickered. "Are you serious?" Yu Yuan shrugged. "I'm not lying to you. I can't believe that Grand Emperor Heaven Shaking escaped into the Starry River with you. If that's the case..." Shi Ming pondered for a few seconds before suddenly asking, "Did Lord White Ghost and the heavenly demon Green Nightmare escape together?" Yu Yuan thought for a moment before answering. More accurately speaking, Lord White Ghost, Green Nightmare, and Grand Emperor Heaven Shaking were all captured and imprisoned by the person in the huge bronze coffin. They were forced to follow him into the Starry River. Even so, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Shi Ming sighed emotionally. They can't escape their fate of being suppressed by this forbidden land. Even if they're in the Howren Heaven Shaking realm, how can they be happy with what they've done? Once news of their escape spreads, the Tianyuan continent and the Tranquil continent won't let this matter rest. The demonic tree and the streak of bloody light also seemed to be shaken by Yu Yuan's words. Boom! All of a sudden, the dragon-bodied man returned from afar. Bathed in golden light, the burly man's dragon-bodied spirit form body wriggled, giving him an awe-inspiring appearance. He seemed to be in a good mood. As soon as he arrived, he laughed heartily and said to Shi Ming, "My soul is here. I finally have a successor for the legacies I've comprehended." As he spoke, a beautiful figure arrived behind him. It was none other than Zhao Yafu. "Big brother Yu," Zhao Yafu called out. Zhao Yafu shouted as she came to Qin Yun's side. She looked at Duan Guanlan and Duan Tianxi, clearly wary of them. The Duan brothers had started a massacre before she left, so she didn't know what was going on. That girl is one of my people. Sia, don't hurt her by mistake. The man with a human head and a dragon's body chuckled. Little girl, don't be afraid. I'm still here. It was obvious that he liked Zhao Yafu very much. Inside the soul-refining pool, Yu Yuan's gaze shifted from Shi Ming to Zhao Yafu. He couldn't help but smile. Your luck is truly unmatched. The forbidden land of the fallen moons is a great place for you. As far as he was concerned, Zhao Yafu was already at the peak of the late Golden Hall stage. It was as if this girl, who had just entered the Golden Hall stage not long ago, could enter the profound breaking stage in the next moment. Zhao Yafu was even younger than Li Yu, Yen Lu, and Lin Zhuyun. If she advanced further, she would probably become the youngest profound breaking stage cultivator in the Silver Moon Empire. The history of profound breaking stage cultivators in the Silver Moon Empire could be changed because of her. In that case, her status in the Empire and the degree of importance she was valued would immediately undergo an earth-shaking change. The Zhao clan of Dark Moon City could replace the Yuan clan and become the most powerful clan because of her. I'll come down on my own, brother Yu. Don't do anything rash. Shi Ming hesitated for a long time before finally making a difficult decision. She floated towards the soul-refining pool like a cyan shadow. Yu Yuan looked as if he was facing a formidable enemy. The sword light in his arm bone was scorching hot and locked onto him. Shi Ming stopped 3 meters above the bottom of the soul-refining pool and said to the people above her, "Tell the others to back off." The demonic tree, the dragon-bodied man, the blood shadow, and the thousands of other souls and evil spirits suddenly started attacking everyone. Aside from Zhao Yafu, all the guests from the Scarlet Sun Empire and the Silver Moon Empire were their target. The bloody battle that Yu Yuan had been looking forward to for a long time was about to begin. Chapter 182. The strange soul with a human head and a dragon's body that was dozens of meters long swayed slightly. The chaotic spiritual energy of heaven and earth within a 50-kilometer radius seemed to be pulled in by it. Various types of energy, such as grayish-brown, milky white, dark red, and so on, were injected into his dragon body. His dragon body expanded bit by bit, becoming longer and longer. In an extremely short amount of time, this burly man with a human head and a dragon body had grown to almost 100 meters long, and his body was as thick as a waterfall. Golden light shone from his dragon body, so bright that it was almost impossible to open one's eyes. He, who originally didn't have a physical body and only existed as an illusory soul, was forced to form a physical body out of all kinds of spiritual energy, impurities, and filth. It wasn't made of flesh and blood, but it gave off a feeling of unparalleled power. Roar! The burly man roared, and golden patterns of light appeared in the air. On the other side, Duan Tianhong, who was in the middle of a fierce battle, suddenly let out sizzling sounds from the boiling lava liquid in his enormous lava pool. If one took a closer look, they would discover that there were many golden dragon pythons in the lava pool. The dragon pythons were as small as snakes, but they didn't fear the lava pool at all. They swam through the lava pool. The burly man grinned and suddenly looked at Duan Tianxi. Duan Tianxi grunted, grabbed Duan Guanlan, and turned around to leave. Ha ha! The burly man with a human head and a dragon body swayed his dragon tail as he suddenly charged toward Duan Tianxi like a streak of golden light. One golden dragon's scale after another fell off his body as he chased after Duan Tianxi, shining with golden light. Almost at the same time, the leafless branches of the demonic tree turned into spears and sharp swords that stabbed toward Su Xiangtian, Lin Fengyan, and the other cultivators from the Silver Moon Empire. All of a sudden, the outsider soul demons that had been perched on the branches vanished into thin air. Every branch seemed to be endowed with infinite power in an instant. SSS. A strange sound suddenly rang out in the air. Like leaves, they fell to the ground. Almost all of the cultivators from the Silver Moon Empire, who were in the late stage of the subtle realm or the in-soul realm, changed expressions. The demonic tree's branches were bare, and there wasn't a single leaf on them. However, as they visualized and sensed the leaves in their minds, they could see the leaves clearly. They couldn't see them with their eyes, but they could sense them with their souls and sense them with their spiritual senses. They were everywhere. The strange rustling sound came from the invisible leaves falling on their bodies. Or perhaps it would fall into their sea of consciousness. The eyes of the current patriarch of the Lin family, Lin Zhiyun's uncle, suddenly became filled with pain and confusion. At the same time, withered leaves started to appear in the depths of his pupils. Unknowingly, the corners of his eyes were bleeding. He didn't know that. The moment the demonic tree launched its attack, the blood shadow disappeared mysteriously above the soul-dissolving pool without anyone noticing. After the blood shadow disappeared, all the cultivators from the Scarlet Sun Empire and the Silver Moon Empire who had participated in the battle felt their blood and qi churn. Even at the bottom of the soul-refining pool, Yu Yuan felt a suffocating pressure falling from the sky. His chest felt heavy, and he wanted to scream. Only by doing so could he relieve some of the pressure. He had a deep understanding of the Blood God's secret arts, so he immediately realized that the first elder of the Blood God had used himself as the core to activate the blood sacrifice formation. His blood was the blood sacrifice formation itself, and it hung high in the sky. Everyone in the formation, including the ghost ape, would be restricted by the blood sacrifice formation as long as they had flesh and blood. Of course, it was up to him to kill whoever he wanted. He had let Yuan Lianyao go and expressed his goodwill. However, when the earth demon Shi Ming decided to attack, the first elder of the Blood God, whose real name was Anzan Shan, had attacked as well. That person did it for you. The earth demon Shi Ming smiled and said, "Whether it's me or him, we'll help you first. You need the soul pool to be filled with soul energy, and you want the formation to be reactivated. We have the same goal." Yu Yuan stilled. "Are you sure?" He didn't trust the earth demons at all, because of the white ghoul's precedent. The earth demons were cunning and despicable, and they were famous for their scheming. He had been tricked by the white ghouls, so it was natural that he didn't trust Shi Ming. Plus, how could these Shade Soul Realm demons be willing to see the Sealing Heaven Soul transforming formation activated? Once the formation was activated, wouldn't Shi Ming, the ghost ape, and the human-headed dragon-bodied man be sealed again and never see the light of day again? Once the Sealing Heaven Soul transforming formation is activated again, you, who have the Sword Soul's acknowledgement, will be able to control the restrictive spells. Shi Ming said as if she knew everything. We can accept you controlling the power of the Forbidden Land. After all, your cultivation is too low, and you can't unleash the true power of the restrictive spells. Then I want to know what benefits this Sealing Heaven Soul transforming formation will bring to you and them, Yu Yuan said in a low voice. These Shade Soul Realm demons wouldn't do it if there were no benefits. As the two of them talked, the sword light in Yu Yuan's arm gradually grew hotter and hotter. The ink-colored soul power under his feet became more abundant, and it sped up. Ah! An ear-piercing scream suddenly rang out from the Silver Moon Empire cultivators. Immediately afterwards, a tree branch pierced through one of the cultivator's neck. The tree branch carried the cultivator's corpse and slid through the air. The moment the tree branch slid through the soul-transforming pool, Yu Yuan looked up with rapt attention, and he seemed to see withered leaves falling from the sky. He blinked, and when he looked again, the leaves were all gone, as if it were an illusion. Whoosh! Streaks of dim blue light suddenly flew out of the corpse, as if they were attracted by some kind of power, and were dragged directly to the sword mark on the pool wall. In the next moment, a streak of blood-colored light flashed. The Silver Moon Empire Grand Cultivator, who had been killed by the tree branch, was instantly possessed by Anzan Shan of the Blood God. The moment Anzan Shan's rich flesh aura was infused into the body, even the burly man with a human head and a dragon body frowned and turned around to look. The possessed cultivator suddenly let out a low, hoarse laugh. His ear-piercing laugh startled everyone present, and they all subconsciously turned to look at him. The blood-sacrificing formation that enveloped everyone was still in place. Anzan Shan, who was now in his host body, floated proudly in midair. He looked down at Yu Yuan and said, "Remember your promise." Yu Yuan nodded hastily. "Of course I will." For some reason, he instinctively felt that Anzan Shan was the most dangerous of all the shade souls, evil spirits, and human grand cultivators present. The grand spell formation will be activated again. With these words, Anzan Shan suddenly landed in the middle of the Silver Moon Empire's cultivators. Yu Yuan, who was at the bottom of the pool, could only see part of the sky. He couldn't see the battle between Anzan Shan and the Silver Moon Empire's cultivators. However, he could clearly hear one miserable howl after another. He knew that Anzan Shan was already on a killing spree. As a member of the Silver Moon Empire, Yu Yuan's face was expressionless, and he didn't feel sad at all. There were only a few people he truly cared about, and they had long since left. Yuan Lianyao, who was his old friend, was by his side. Zhao Yafu was also safe and sound. Deep in his heart, Yu Yuan, who didn't consider himself a citizen of the Silver Moon Empire, had no feelings for the Silver Moon Empire's cultivators led by Su Xiangtian. If he had to die, so be it. Chapter 183. Su Yen, dressed in the divine feather heavenly robe, floated silently in the air and looked into the distance. Liu Chan's Yin soul had left her body and was also in the air, looking in the direction of the soul pool. Liu, Yen Lu, Zhan Tianxiang, and the other prodigies of the Silver Moon Empire had dark expressions as they resisted the sudden surge of heaven-earth spirit energy. Some people sat on the ground and focused on cultivating with spirit stones. An aura that fell from the sky and pressed down on everyone's hearts and souls made these juniors very uncomfortable. Liu Chan was the one who was even more uncomfortable. Her Yin soul that had left her body could faintly sense the dissatisfaction of the cloud restrictions. Inside the churning clouds, bolts of thunder and lightning seemed to be targeting all of the spirits that didn't have physical bodies and intimidating them. Whoosh! Liu Chan's Yin soul suddenly returned and sank into her body. She looked at Su Yen from the ground. "Girls Su, what about your father? The situation is not good." Su Yen smiled bitterly. Facing the questioning gazes of Liu, Yen Lu, Zhan Tianxiang, and the others, she said, "The battle over there has begun. My father and the seniors of the Empire seem to be in an extremely disadvantageous situation." Through the divine feather heavenly robe, she could communicate mentally with Su Xiangtian. She could use the divine feather heavenly robe to catch Su Xiangtian's random thoughts. The future patriarch of the Su family loved his precious daughter very much. He would purposely create thoughts in his mind and send a message to let her know what was happening. The Scarlet Sun Empire and the Silver Moon Empire are not a match for those variant soul great demons, even if they work together? Zhan Tianxiang's expression changed slightly. At this moment, an ear-piercing and high-pitched scream caused everyone's eardrums to ache. A large crimson bell flew towards the sky where everyone was like a ball of crimson cloud. Duan Tianxi. Liu Chan was shocked and immediately saw Duan Tianxi and Duan Guanlan on the crimson bell. The crimson bell once belonged to the fire cloud flame demon of the Red Devil School. It was also an extraordinary artifact, but at this moment, the crimson bell seemed to be carrying Duan Tianxi and Duan Guanlan and escaping. A large man with a human head and dragon body, 100 meters long and golden dragon body, appeared with a snarl. He flew through the air like a long golden meteor. Dang dang! Countless golden dragon scales collided with the crimson bell, causing sparks to fly. The ancient runes engraved on the bell disappeared one by one. The human-headed dragon-bodied man laughed loudly as his long golden dragon body suddenly wrapped around the crimson bell. Golden light shone in all directions. The burly man spat out a mouthful of golden blood onto the crimson bell, which seemed to extinguish the numerous flame spells Duan Tianxi had cast on it. The golden dragon blood abruptly transformed into numerous golden dragon pythons that burrowed into the bell. Duan Tianxi and Duan Guanlan's cries suddenly rang out. The crimson bell rapidly shrank in front of everyone's eyes. It was as if Duan Tianxi and Duan Guanlan were being refined by the human-headed, dragon-bodied man inside the crimson bell. Not long after, the originally huge bell actually shrunk to the size of a palm. The dragon-bodied man with a human head held the clock that had shrunk countless times in one hand as he looked down at the people below him from midair. Su Yan, who was wearing the divine feather heavenly robe, knew that she had nowhere to hide, so she didn't do anything useless. Everyone, including Li Yuchan, was silent. The human-headed dragon-bodied man stared at them for a while before shaking his head. Then, he twisted his long dragon body and walked towards the soul-refining pool. "Does he think we're too weak?" Zhan Tianxiang said with a long face after he left. "It's as if our lives are of no help to the situation, so he doesn't care about us anymore?" "I think Zhao Yafu is partly to blame," Han Hui said softly. "Duan Tianxi and Duan Guanlan died just like that?" Yan Lu said. "I'm afraid they really did die just like that." Su Yan sighed softly and suddenly said, "Generally, my father sent a wisp of soul thought." "What is it?" Li Yuchan asked. "He told us to retreat towards the Crimson Sun Empire and not stop." Su Yan had a helpless expression. The battle situation there doesn't seem to be going well. Li Yuchan only hesitated for a moment before nodding and saying, "Let's go. We'll retreat towards the Crimson Sun Empire." They weren't far from the soul refining pool, so the cultivators of the Silver Moon Empire didn't dare to stay and watch. A whoosh. Every now and then, a soul or a cluster of shattered nether soul fragments would be pulled into the soul-transforming pool's walls. Black soul power flowed under Yu Yuan's feet and filled the soul-refining pool. The earth demon Shiho floated in midair and didn't dare to touch the bottom of the soul-refining pool. As the black soul power at the bottom of the soul-refining pool rose, Shiho floated up a few dozen feet uneasily and looked at the bottom of the pool and the walls with wariness and anxiety. The sword energy in Yu Yuan's arm grew hotter. He listened to the rumbling of thunder in the depths of the clouds and felt the joy of the ancient sword intent hidden in the earth. He knew that as soul energy gathered, the heaven-sealing soul-dissolving formation was about to be reactivated. The battle in the surroundings was in full swing. Deviant souls and demon spirits died tragically and cultivators of the Silver Moon Empire were suddenly killed. The deviant souls led by Shiho and Anzan Shan showed their true strength and started killing. Only then did Yu Yuan realize that the subtle realm and Een spirit realm cultivators of the tiny Silver Moon Empire weren't enough. An unusually dull and strange chime of a bell suddenly rang out. Yu Yuan looked up. It was a brawny man with a human head and a dragon body. Most of his dragon body was outside, and only his human head was here with Zhao Yafu. He held a small crimson bell and grabbed it with his dragon claw-like fingers. Poof! It was as if some of the souls were being grabbed by it and exploded. As expected, fiery liquid that looked like crimson lava flowed out of the dragon claw's fingertips and sprinkled into the soul-dissolving lake, along with a sulfuric soul aura. Then, it was instantly absorbed by the sword marks on the walls of the pool. Duan Tianxi, Duan Guanlan. Yu Yuan took a deep breath. He hadn't expected that a disciple of the Primal Yang sect, a descendant of the Red Devil School, and a descendant of the fire cloud flame devil, would be killed so easily. Qin Yun of the 7 divine sects was right next to Zhao Yafu. He took a deep breath and didn't say a word, but his eyelids trembled slightly. Zhao Yafu was surprised at first, but she quickly calmed down and squeezed out a sweet smile at the brawny man with a human head and a dragon body. "Don't worry. I'm here. No one will do anything to you." The brawny man with a human head and a dragon body comforted Zhao Yafu before turning to Qin Yun and saying, "There's a wisp of Brother Yu's soul on your spiritual tool. Before some things are clear, I will give Brother Yu face and not kill you." Qin Yun bowed slightly, his smile uglier than crying. "Thank you, Sect Master Qin. I'll have to trouble you to escort my younger sister," Yu Yuan suddenly said. "Don't worry," the brawny man with a human head and a dragon body said. "No matter how many of those kids die, they won't be of any help to the soul refining pool." Qin Yun turned to look at Yu Yuan. Yu Yuan gave him a meaningful look and said, "Go." Qin Yun felt as if he had been pardoned. Seeing that the brawny man with a human head and a dragon body had no intention of paying any attention to him, he immediately turned into a streak of light and left. "Stay here." With these words, the brawny man shot into the sky and joined forces with the ghost ape to kill another member of the Duan clan. "Brother Yu, can you do us a favor and let us leave?" Shifan suddenly bowed to Yu Yuan with a pleading look on her face. "Leave? Leave the forbidden land of the fallen moons?" Yu Yuan was surprised. "No." Shifan shook her head gently. "We'll leave the Howren heaven and earth." Yu Yuan was taken aback. "How can I help you with that?" Chapter 184. How could it be so easy to leave Howren's heaven and earth? Between heaven and earth, only grand cultivators who had reached the sun spirit realm could use their sun spirit to forcibly break free from the spatial boundary wall and step into the outer star river. The dark, cold, and lonely starry river was full of terrors. Below the yang spirit was the peak of the soul wander realm like Shot Sangmin. Whether it was his Yin spirit or his physical body, if he dared to move outside the Milky Way, he might die inexplicably without encountering the skyscraping devil. In the starry river, there were gales that could annihilate souls, flare that could explode, streaks of light that could pierce through the void, and dark holes that could devour evil gods from all directions. Even yang gods could suffer misfortune when they flew in the starry river. Even so-called heavenly devils that were born in the starry river would die mysteriously in some strange places in the starry river. Not to mention a low-grade cultivator from Howren's heaven and earth. As far as Yu Yuan could tell, Shi Shui, the tree demon, and the burly man with a human head and a dragon's body were at most peak soul wander stage. Such strength wasn't enough to break through the spatial barrier and leave Howren's heaven and earth. The reason why the sinner from the Shunhun sect had been able to break the heaven-sealing soul-transforming formation and escape was not only because of his own strength, but also because of the huge bronze coffin. In Yu Yuan's eyes, the huge bronze coffin was a magical tool that could allow it to travel through the starry river. The reason why that sinner had been able to escape from the forbidden land of the fallen moons and trap the Green Nightmare, the White Ghoul, and Emperor Hantian was because he was too powerful. However, Shi Shui was clearly far from that level. "No one else can help me with this, but you definitely can." With these words, Shi Shui's gaze wandered from Yu Yuan to the bottom of the soul-transforming lake. With a serious expression, she asked, "Haven't you sensed it yet?" "Sensed what?" Yu Yuan asked curiously. Shi Shui smiled. "Do you know that this soul-transforming lake is both the eye of the heaven-sealing soul-transforming formation and the core of another spell formation?" "What spell formation?" Yu Yuan was increasingly surprised. "A spatial spell formation," Shi Shui exclaimed softly. As soon as he said this, Yu Yuan's expression changed. In Howren, There were all kinds of spatial magic formations that could connect different continents and different spatial realms to each other through profound spatial magic. The Qianxian continent, the Tianyuan continent, and the Tranquil continent were separated by a vast ocean. Even powerful cultivators would need a very long time to travel through the air. The existence of the spatial array would allow cultivators from the Tianyuan continent and the Tranquil continent to reach the Qianxian continent in an instant. The three great sects of the Tianyuan continent, the Devil's Palace and the Goblin Temple of the Tranquil continent, had spent enormous amounts of money to construct such spatial formations so that they could send their disciples and elders to the Qianxian continent to secretly provoke talented disciples and teach them cultivation arts in order to accumulate strength for the future. Each and every one of them required an astronomical amount of spiritual materials to construct. Any sect that could construct a spatial formation had to have an incredibly deep foundation. The Divine Soul sect had once guarded the Forbidden Land of the Fallen Moon Forbidden Land, and the heaven-sealing soul-disintegrating formation was the most powerful ancient spell formation in the world. Logically speaking, it made sense that there was a spatial formation here. Yu Yuan sucked in a deep breath and looked at the bottom of the soul-refining pool. "It's down there." Shi Shui nodded. "That's right. Where does this formation lead to?" Yu Yuan asked again. This time, it was the Earth Devil Shi Shui who fell silent. On the other side of the soul-refining pool, the City Lord of Dark Moon City, Yuan Lianyao, quietly opened her eyes. Her face was ruddy. She had already refined the ownerless blood essence and used it to strengthen her middle dantian. After listening to Shi Shui and Yu Yuan's conversation, she couldn't hold back her curiosity any longer. Shi Shui glanced at her. She felt a chill in her heart, but forced a smile and said, "I'm just listening." Yu Yuan walked over and stood beside her. He wanted to tell Shi Shui with his attitude. "If you want to listen, then listen." Shi Shui didn't seem to care. After pondering for a few seconds, she said, "It doesn't lead to the heavenly Yuan continent or the Tranquil continent." Yu Yuan shuddered and pointed to the sky. Shi Shui nodded slightly with an appreciative look in her eyes. Then, she revealed an earth-shattering secret. The Shunhun sect hasn't been completely wiped out. "I'm all ears," Yu Yuan said softly. "They used the spatial formation down there to escape into the Starry River and hide in the depths of the Starry River." Shi Shui pondered for a moment before saying slowly, "I've verified some of these secrets, and some of them are just my guesses. The Shunhun sect wasn't the only one. Many of the top 10 variant soul demons were either taken away by the Shunhun sect or found their own ways to escape to the Starry River." Upon hearing this, Yu Yuan's expression finally changed. He couldn't believe that the Shunhun sect hadn't been wiped out. It had once been on par with the Zuantianzong sect, the Sword sect, and the Primal Yang sect on the heavenly Yuan continent. In fact, it might have even been slightly stronger than them. It had been the most powerful sect in Howran, yet it hadn't been wiped out even after being besieged by the entire Great Heaven and Earth. Some of the Shunhun sect members had escaped into the Starry River and were still active in the Starry River. That man, Emperor Hantian, White Ghost, and Green Nightmare are only 4 of the top 10 Qi warriors, Shi Shui said without hiding anything. "I can't sense the auras of the other top 10 cultivators in this Forbidden Land," Shi Yu said without hiding anything. "That's why I think they've left the Forbidden Land of the Falling Moon Forbidden Land a long time ago." "Why would they leave?" Yu Yuan asked. "If they don't leave, they'll be trapped here forever. Even if they manage to escape, they'll be suppressed as soon as they show their faces outside." Shi Shui sighed. "For example, I was only able to hide in the Silver Moon Empire because I wasn't complete. I only regained most of my strength after I returned to this Forbidden Land and reunited with my soul awareness. If I dared to leave this Forbidden Land in my current state, I'd soon be hunted down by the cultivators from the other 2 continents." Thus, in a certain sense, this forbidden area is also a protective umbrella for me. As long as I'm under the shield, the cultivators from the other 2 continents will let me live. Once I leave the protection of this shield and wander around the Qian continent unscrupulously, I'll be killed. With these words, he paused and looked up into the sky. He looked up into the sky. That tree, Unbing Mountain, the ghost ape, and I are all the same. You want to enter the Starry River with the help of the teleportation portal down there? Do you think you can do whatever you want in this boundless Starry River? Eyes narrowed, Yu Yuan let out a derisive laugh. Is the teleportation portal connected to the Shenhun sect's new headquarters? Also, do you really think you'll be free after you leave? No, we don't know anything. Shi Shui shook her head. We don't know what's on the other side of the teleportation portal either. We just feel that we'll never be able to make a name for ourselves in this world. If we leave, we might have a chance at survival even if it's the Shenhun sect. Especially when that person brought White Ghoul, Emperor Hantian, and Blue Nightmare with him when he rushed out of the giant bronze coffin. This means that the Divine Spirit sect also understands that outsider souls like them and us have value in being alive, and that we have a common enemy. It's very likely that we'll become the Shenhun sect's consecrators in the Starry River and accompany them in conquering other races. Shi Shui was actually in high spirits as she thought about the future. A look of great anticipation appeared on her face. You don't know, but I heard that the Shenhun sect, which broke away from the Howran realm, has regained its power in the Starry River. Chapter 185. Outside the Howran Great Realm, the universe was vast, and there were many smaller realms. However, in the eyes of the cultivators of the Tianyuan continent, the Tranquil Continent, the Heavenly Devils, and the smaller races, the Howran Great Realm was the true center of the universe. The young spirits, freedom spirits, and nascent spirit experts that came from the Howran Great Realm were as majestic as mountains in the depths of the universe. The Howran Great Realm had been such a special place since ancient times. Countless heavenly devils and experts of smaller races were proud to be able to enter the Howran Great Realm. The Shenhun sect had once been a peak existence on the Tianyuan continent, but for some reason, it had been wiped out by the combined forces of various large forces. Helpless, the survivors of the Shenhun sect had fled to the outer realms of the universe. Many years had passed since then, but the cultivators of the Shenhun sect had created a new phenomenon in the outer realms of the universe. This news shocked Yu Yuan. Yu Yuan immediately thought of the sinner of the Shenhun sect hiding in the giant bronze coffin. After imprisoning Blue Nightmare, White Ghost, and Emperor Hantian, he had traveled to the outer realms of the universe to reunite with the members of the Shenhun sect. That person's cultivation was high, and with the help of Blue Nightmare, White Bone, and Emperor Hantian, he would be an extremely difficult opponent to deal with in the depths of the universe. According to Shi Yu, the other 6 variant soul great demons ranked in the top 10 of the Forbidden Grounds had also flown to the outer realms of the universe with the survivors of the Shenhun sect. The Shenhun sect must be very powerful in the depths of the universe, right? You might not know. Shi Yu's eyebrows danced as she continued. In the past few hundred years, many experts of the Tianyuan continent and the Tranquil Continent have mysteriously died and disappeared. If my guess is correct, the cultivators of the Shenhun sect and the 6 variant soul great demons must have acted in secret. The battle between the Shenhun sect and the other sects has quietly shifted from the Howran heaven and earth to the Starry River. Shi Yu clearly didn't have a good impression of the 3 great sects of the Tianyuan continent, the Goblin Temple, or the Devil's Palace. If the Shenhun sect doesn't come looking for me, we'll find a way to get in touch with the Shenhun sect if we can step out of the galaxy through the spatial formation. Shi Huo was looking forward to it. In the past, the Shenhun sect suppressed us for the sake of the people of Howran. Since they were besieged instead, they should understand that we have a common enemy. As they spoke, more divinities from the Silver Moon Empire were killed by the combined efforts of the demonic tree and Anzan Shan. Who? A green spirit was pierced through by the leaves and fell to the ground. It was as if the walls of the soul-transforming pool had become a bottomless abyss that devoured souls. All of a sudden, the spirit was pulled in and disappeared without a trace. The inky soul power continued to fill the soul-transforming pool. Yu Yuan, who was listening to Shi Hua's words, suddenly looked down at his feet. Just a moment ago, he had sensed an unusually obvious fluctuation from somewhere under his feet. In his previous life, he had used many spatial formations to travel between different continents. From the Tranquil Continent to the Tianyuan Continent, to the Qianxian Continent, to the many islands in the vast ocean between the three great continents. He had used all kinds of spatial formations, therefore, he was very familiar with the strange ripples of space. He had originally had many doubts about Shi Hua's words, but now he was certain of one thing. There really was an incomparably miraculous spatial formation hidden under the soul-transforming pool. He wasn't sure if this spatial formation could connect to the Starry River in the Starry River and reach the Shunhun sect's headquarters in the Starry River. However, he was sure that this spatial formation relied on the soul-transforming pool and needed to be filled with soul power. No wonder. He suddenly understood why Shi Hua had said that they had a common goal. He also knew that Shi Hua and the Blood Shadow had joined hands to kill the cultivators of the Silver Moon Empire for soul power. As he thought of this, he remembered something else. He suddenly looked up at the sky. He had suspected that the strange cluster of clouds in the sky was Zhou Tsangmin. Did the Duan brothers really kill their companions from the Scarlet Sun Empire because they knew about their relationship with the Red Devil School? Or did the Scarlet Sun Empire's Grand Preceptor, who had ordered the Duan brothers to do so, know something? He knew that the soul-transforming pool needed the souls of powerful experts, so he provoked those people and had them die near the soul-transforming pool? That person can't know, can he? Yu Yuan murmured. Who are you talking about? Shi Hua asked in surprise. The Scarlet Sun Empire's Grand Preceptor, Zhou Tsangmin. I suspect that he's somewhere in the sky. Yu Yuan pointed up. The Duan brothers attacked the cultivators from the Scarlet Sun Empire because of his orders. Before you showed up, the Duan brothers killed more than a dozen cultivators from the Scarlet Sun Empire who were supposed to be working with the Silver Moon Empire. Zhou Tsangmin? Shi Hua shook her head and said, I don't remember him. He hasn't been around for long, Yu Yuan said. It's normal that you don't know him. Look, if we fill the soul-transforming pool with soul power again, that spatial formation will work again. Shi Hua chuckled. What we want is to borrow the spatial formation and step out of this world. What do you think? Me? Yu Yuan pointed at her own nose and asked, What can I do to help with that spatial array? Don't use any restrictive spells to attack the formation when we enter it, Shi Hua said with a frown. Shi Hua suddenly frowned and said, To be honest, I don't know how to get in or how to use the formation. However, since you've been acknowledged by the restrictive spells, I think you'll know what to do after the grand formation is fully formed. Yu Yuan suddenly fell silent. Yuan Lianyao, who was standing next to him, suddenly said, Something's wrong down there. Yu Yuan looked down and saw that black soul power seemed to be seeping into the bottom of the pool bit by bit. Wisps of ancient sword intent could be seen swimming in the depths of the soul-refining pool like fish. At first, there were only a few wisps of sword intent. Gradually, dozens of wisps of sword intent started to move around under the soul-transforming pool. With the help of his heavenly soul, Yu Yuan sensed that there was a door under the soul-transforming pool. It was a mysterious gate that could connect to the outer realms and establish a connection with another world. At the same time, The white paper fan that had been deliberately written with the words, "Extreme wisdom will be hurt," suddenly fell uncontrollably into the soul-transforming pool. As soon as the white paper fan fell into the soul-transforming pool, the black soul power was madly absorbed by the 4 words. In an instant, the words, "Extreme wisdom will be hurt," became a black hole that devoured everything. Yu Yuan's expression flickered. That paper fan! The Earth Devil Shihua also went blank. Staring blankly at the white paper fan and the 4 simple black words on it, it madly swallowed the soul power at the bottom of the soul-transforming pool. "Where did this thing come from?" Shihua shouted. "Stop it now. If there isn't enough soul power, the soul-transforming formation will stop. That spatial formation won't appear." Yu Yuan crouched down and reached out to grab it. The white paper fan seemed to have a mind of its own. It cleverly avoided his hand and floated around at the bottom of the soul-transforming pool, continuing to swallow the black soul power at the bottom. The soul-transforming pool, which had been filled to the brim with soul power with great difficulty, clearly started to become shallow. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.